Please be seated.
Check. Mabuhay everyone! Mabuhay mga pag-asa ng ating bayan! Welcome to a truly historic and impactful day!
Yes, this day is a celebration of hope, resilience, and of course, the limitless potential of every girl.
Tama! Are you guys ready? Parinig naman ng isang malakas na sigawan. If you guys ready to stand with girls!
Ay,
Parang mahina, parang hindi nag-breakfast. Isa pang malakas na sigawan para sa mga kababaihan.
Yes, at syempre isa pang sigaw para naman sa mga kabataan. Okay, alam mo kuya, this year nandito tayo ngayon for a powerful and essential theme, Together for Girls, uniting stakeholders to make girls' rights a reality.
And you know what? This is not just a theme. It is our collective mission. Kaya nagsama-sama tayo ngayong araw. Tama?
Tama!
Well, good morning everyone. I am JJ from Pasay City.
And I am Noah from Navotas City.
And welcome to Girls Summit Stand with Girls.
Perfect. Ngayon makikita natin, we have, I think, more than 100 participants, different leaders from different agencies. Nandito rin ang ating youth advocates. At syempre, we would like to thank the Quezon City government for hosting us for
Yes,
this
palakpakan
year's
naman
event.
natin ng QC government, everyone.
Yes, talaga namang through and through sila ay isang napakabuting gender advocate. Pero magkaroon muna tayo ng mabilis na attendance check. Nandito na ba ang mga taga-Luzon?
Nako, magpapatalo ba ang mga taga-Visayas?
At syempre, nandito pa ba ang mga taga-Mindanao? Yes, ang M for Mindanao ay maraming energy. At syempre, to officially begin this event with a voice that champions girls' rights in her city, a dedicated leader and an unwavering advocate for a gender-responsive community.
And it is our pleasure to introduce our first guest for today. Big applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the one and the only mayor of Quezon City. Let's all give a warm welcome to the Honorable Maria Josefina G. Belmonte.
To Ms. Pebble Sanchez Ogang, Executive Director, Plan International, Pilipinas. Attorney Maria Lara Dominguez Sanchez of the Department of Justice. ASEC Rachel Ann S. Herrera of the Climate Change Commission Philippines, Ms. Raiza Dejito, Country Director of CARE Philippines, Councilor Ali Medalla, the Majority Floor Leader of the Quezon City Council, representatives from embassies, private sectors, and NGOs, Youth Network of Plan International Pilipinas, students from different universities from all over the Philippines. Magandang araw sa ating lahat. Maganda bang araw natin? Right. And I'd like to specially greet our girls and young women who are joining us today. Here in our city, we have close to 1 million children, nearly half of whom are girls. And as a woman leader, I carry their stories close to my heart. Some of those I have met are student leaders, honor students, athletes, beauty pageant titleists, performing artists. All of them are dreamers. Pero hindi lahat ng ating mga kabataang babae ay kasing palad. Halimbawa, nitong June 18, kasama sa mga na-rescue natin sa isang hotel sa Novaliches, ang 10 babae, including 7 minors. Pero ang matindi pa rito, 2 sa teenager sa grupo ang itinuturo na pimp o bugaw. Ate ang tawag sa kanila ng mga kasama nilang bata. Ang isa sa kanila buntis during the operations. Clearly, there is still so much that we need to do in order to close the gap between the varying contexts in which we find our girls and young women. We recognize that even with the changing times, the difficulties have not been removed. They just look a little different. Here in QC, we are constantly striving to change this narrative. As part of our larger efforts to promote genuine inclusivity, tinututukan natin ang ating gender and development framework with interventions seeking to address the full cycle of care, from education and health to social protection and recovery. Sa loob ng 6 na taon, masaya kami na mas marami na sa ating young women ang nakapagtapos na ng pag-aaral, nakakakuha ng maayos na healthcare, at may maasahang oportunidad para mapabuti ang kanilang mga buhay. Our scholarship program supports over 25,000 girls and young women in senior high school and college levels, many of them poised to become the first in their families to ever finish school. We have 870 young women running their own businesses under our entrepreneurship program called Pangkabuhayang QC, with over 300 others introduced to opportunities for startups in our Be Your Own Boss program, as well as digital commerce, where young girls are taught to create meaningful content to post online and from which to earn a small income. This is called our Digital Beauty Academy program. But as this year's celebrations of the International Day of the Girl emphasizes, adolescent girls and young women are navigating intersecting challenges these days, from crisis in conflict and climate to digital risks and online harm and the systemic barriers in opportunities. Kasama nga sa mga pagsubok na ito, ang teenage pregnancy crisis, with several studies noting an increase of as high as 35% in pregnancies among Filipino girls aged 10 to 14 years old. Here in QC, we recorded over 2,200 adolescent pregnancies last year, and we are working hard to lower this number while supporting our young mothers. Through our Batang Ina Summit, we brought together 600 of them para sa kanila namin mismo marinig kung paano ba kami makakatulong in terms of their education, health, psychosocial support, and livelihood. From there, we connected them to our city's programs para matugunan ang kanilang mga pangangailangan. Mental health is another huge hurdle that we must address, with Filipino youth considered in worse mental shape today compared to in the past. Among girls and young women, this includes body dysmorphia, a direct effect of long being told that females need to look a certain way. In school, students fear being labeled problematic or papansin, And this is true even among student leaders and stars of the class. Mental health problems have worsened over recent years, with social media giving rise to cyberbullying. This is why here in QC, we have spent the past decade concretizing our support for our citizens' mental health. Our goal was clear: shift from a hospital-centered system to a stronger community-based mental health care delivery network. Kaya ang mental health services namin available sa aming health centers at may mental wellness access hubs ang bawat distrito ng aming pong lungsod. 6 po ang distrito po namin. Our healthcare workers are trained in psychological first aid and psychosocial support, including in times of disaster. We have intensified mental health support through Helpline 122 with 24/7 duty coverage by more than 100 medical staff ready to provide intervention sa sinumang tatawag. And this year, we launched our Bad Yan campaign. Bad Yan meaning bullying and discrimination, Bad Yan campaign, which encourages concrete actions against cyberbullying. Sa gitna naman ng mga tumitinding sakuna, doble kayod tayo para ihanda ang ating mga komunidad. Kasama na ang mga kabataang babae who are often among the most vulnerable to displacement, violence, and exploitation. Sabi nga ng United Nations, compared to men, women and girls are 14 times more likely to die during disasters dahil generally kulang ang gender-specific healthcare sa mga ganitong pagkakataon. Sa mga nakaraang bagyo dito sa QC, marami sa mga libo-libong evacuees natin ay babae, including adolescents and young adults. Kaya ang evacuation centers natin merong breastfeeding areas, pati safe and private wash areas para sa kanila. Higit pa rito, we have trained more than 4,600 of our young people, including girls and young women, in disaster preparedness, leadership, and community response. Matindi rin ang banta sa kaligtasan ng ating mga kabataang babae sa online spaces, with roughly 2 million children aged 12 to 16 experiencing some form of online sexual abuse and exploitation. A separate study said that 1 in every 100 Filipino children has been a victim of trafficking for the production of child sexual exploitation material said to be driven by foreign demand for photos, videos, and live stream of sexual abuse. Sabi nga natin, nag-evolve na ang diskarte ng mga predators at perpetrators ng mga ganitong krimen at dapat makahabol tayo sa mga modus nila. This is why Quezon City has become a leading voice amid the rise of online sexual abuse and exploitation of children, or OSAEC, and the persistent threat of human trafficking. We have instituted landmark ordinances for fighting trafficking in persons and OSAEC. We have also legislated a tourism child protection policy. Over the past year, we have led efforts to address OSAEC cases by building alliances among government offices, barangays, civil society, local courts, and communities. Part of this network are our partners from Plan International Philippines, foreign embassies, and advocacy groups. We have mechanisms for reporting and referring cases of harassment, exploitation, and abuse, as well as various interventions for shelter, care, and protection of both child and adult survivors. Kasama na rito ang ating tuloy-tuloy na pagkilos para buwagin ang trafficking networks habang nagbibigay ng tulong pangkabuhayan, edukasyon, at psychosocial support sa mga kabataang nare-rescue natin at sa kanilang mga pamilya. Just last year, we rescued 37 young girls in our coordinated operations. This was followed by the immediate closure of several establishments operating as prostitution hubs. To elevate our efforts in light of this problem, we inspected nearly 200 establishments across QC, including hotels, apartels, inns, and motels, to ensure that they are complying with our policies and our permits. And earlier this year, we launched our QC Safe Seal. QC Safe meaning safe or stop all forms of exploitation. So safe, yan ang ibig sabihin ng safe seal, which calls on such establishments to strengthen their protocols so they can respond to possible trafficking attempts. In all of these, we are reminded that our work is far from over. If we are to genuinely stand with our girls, we must continue to build cities and communities where they truly feel safe at home, in school, at work, on streets, and online. Kailangan natin mabukas ng mas marami pang espasyo para hayaan silang abutin ang mas malalaki at matatayog nilang mga pangarap. To our partners in this advocacy, thank you for standing with us. We have so much more to do. At ngayon, higit na mahalaga ang ating pagkakaisa. To the young men who are with us in this hall, it makes me happy to see you all today. Konti lang, pero nandyan kayo. I hope that beyond today's occasion, you will choose to listen, to respect, and when need to be, to protect the girls and young women in your lives. And to our dear girls and young women here today, we see you, we believe in you, and we are rooting for you. I hope that as you navigate this phase in your lives, you will find it in your hearts to care for your fellow girls and young women. Habang hinahabol ninyo ang sari-sariling pangarap, look after each other, cheer each other on, and stand with each other. Sama-sama tayong tumindig para sa mas ligtas at mas maliwanag na bukas. Here's to the girls we are raising and to the better future we can build for them. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you very much for that, Mayor Joy. Now, we would like to request everyone to have a photo opportunity with Mayor here. I think, tatayo na lang po ba ang everyone? After na lang, okay po. Mamaya na lang po pala ang group photo. Thank you po. Ano pa lang po yun? Disclaimer.
Practice pa lang, di ba? Once again, isang masigabong palakpakan kay Mayor Joy Belmonte.
Yes. Alam mo, Kuya, I'm a very big fan of Mayor Joy. Kasi she's a good advocate for gender development, lalong-lalo na sa right to care card po. And
Yes.
yung sa na-mention kanina na gender development framework na natalakay lahat, like she talked about education, mental health, health in general, and how she tries to increase the skills, ability, and capacity of the girls. Kasama na rin dito yung ilan sa mga nabanggit niya kanina na pagpapataas ng bilang ng mga female graduates, and of course, ang Batang Ina Summit, kung saan pinakinggan nila at inalam pa nila kung ano pa nga ba ang kailangan ng mga kababaihan para ma-unlock ang kanilang potential.
Yes, Rinoa. Actually, napansin natin kanina, no, how the QC government is the forefront of advancing girls' right in terms of
Yes.
education, health, and especially during the disaster.
Totoo. Kaya talaga kapag June, nakaabang na ako sa kasi alam kong may advocacy sila. June, March, everyday. Nakaabang tayo dyan.
Yes, kaya naman, palakpakan muli natin ang QC government for hosting the first ever Girls Summit in the Philippines. Now, as we move forward, our next speaker is the woman leading the change to create a brighter, more equitable future for every girl in the Philippines. She will
Yes.
be delivering the welcoming remarks and lead the ceremonial unveiling of the hashtag Stand With Girls campaign.
Yeah, so let us all stand up and put our hands together and show our love and support for the Executive Director of Plan International Pilipinas, Ms. Pebbles Sanchez Ogang.
Thank you very much to our very energetic hosts, JJ and Renoa. Proud na proud po kami dahil isa sila sa aming mga girl and youth leaders. Let's give them a big round of applause. Suki. Actually po, nung namimili kami, Mayor, kung sino po ang pwedeng maging host, nahirapan po kami. Dahil marami po sa Plan International Pilipinas, marami po kaming mga girl and youth leaders na talagang outspoken at very confident po. And we are very proud of them. Happy International Day of the Girl to all of us, to our partners from the Quezon City Government, and to our Girl and Women Empowerment Champion, Mayor Joy Belmonte. mula po sa isang proud na Q citizen at produkto po ng Quezon City Science High School at ng Sunny Belmonte Leadership Training Program, yung SB Centrex. Kung familiar pa po tayo, no? Maraming salamat po for paving the way and inspiring more girls and women to take on leadership roles. And most especially for co-organizing the Girls Summit with us at Plan International Pilipinas. Maraming salamat din po sa ating mga partners from national government agencies. We have with us our Climate Change Commissioner, Attorney Rachel Herrera, one of the climate champions that I am personally really looking up to. We also have our partners from the Department of Justice, Department of Education, and the Council for the Welfare of Children. And of course, local government unit partners. We have with us Councilor Ali Medalla, the majority floor leader of the 23rd Quezon City Council. Thank you very much, Councilor. Si Councilor po ang isa sa mga nagpaunlak sa atin para bigyan tayo ng spasyo doon sa Girls Takeover na ginagawa natin every year where a woman leader actually gives leadership position and role to one of our girl and youth leaders. Thank you very much, Councilor Ali. And of course, we have with us partners from the embassies, the Norwegian Embassy. Thank you very much for joining us. From international partners, ECHO Manila. We also have with us UNICEF Philippines. I hope I don't forget all of our partners. Global Affairs Canada, maraming salamat po for being here with us today. We also have partners from the private sector, the academe, media, and the civil society. At hindi rin po natin kakalimutang banggitin yung mga teachers, mentors, yung ating mga exhibitors and entrepreneurs na nandito to inspire our girls and youth leaders to be very productive part of our community, our suppliers as well, and community leaders, and most especially, our amazing girl and youth leaders who fill this room with energy, courage, and hope. Good morning and welcome to the 2025 Girls Summit. Today, may round of applause. Thank you very much. Today, we gather not only to celebrate the International Day of the Girl, but to stand with girls and young people, to honor your voices, your dreams, and your power to lead change. When Plan International Pilipinas began championing the voices of girls, children, adolescents, and young people in 1961, we were guided by a belief that when you are protected, educated, and empowered, your life changes. And when your life changes, when girls and young people lead, families grow stronger, your schools and communities rise, and the future where we are all equal in your localities, our nation, and ultimately the world becomes possible. So today, we proudly stand with girls, with boys, with all gender, with the youth, and with partners and champions to create spaces where you are seen, heard, and empowered. Across our more than 6,000 partner communities, where our around 30,000 sponsored children live, girls, youth, and collaborators have been celebrating the rights and empowerment of girls and children through various programs nationwide. The International Day of the Girl activities and the Girls Takeover, our symbolic one-day transfer of leadership roles from trailblazing women in government, private sector, and civil society to girl leaders have been held across Luzon. So we're flashing some of the photos of our International Day of the Girls celebration nationwide. We also did activities in Visayas and Mindanao. And of course, I'd like to take a moment to recognize my colleagues from the Plan International Pilipinas family, many of whom are here today while others are in the field. And may I invite all of you to please stand and be recognized? Asan po ang mga kasama natin from Plan International Pilipinas family? Kindly stand to be recognized. And please remain standing. These are your ates and kuyas, the passionate, kind, and committed individuals who have worked tirelessly to make all of this possible. And not just today's celebration, but the many programs and projects we implement in geographically isolated, disadvantaged, and disaster-affected areas across the country. and I am deeply honored to speak on behalf of these determined optimists and hardworking development leaders. Please give them a big round of applause. Thank you, Plan International Pilipinas family. And as we continue to celebrate beyond October, we hope that our collective efforts to protect you from violence and online sexual abuse and exploitation, to provide inclusive and gender transformative health services, to bridge education to economic opportunities, and to strengthen your resilience in the face of conflict, climate change, and disasters, will remind you that we see you, we believe in you, and we stand with you. So today, let's make the Girls Summit a celebration of strength, partnership, and possibility. Please make the most out of this day. Listen, participate, and connect. Because it's not every day that we gather such inspiring partners, champions, and peers, girls and youth leaders beside you who will generously share their time and voices with us. Together, we can build a just world and the Philippines where every girl, every child, and every young person can learn, lead, decide, be resilient, and thrive. Thank you, and let's all stand with girls and communities today and every day. So team, let's share with them our Stand with Girls video presentation.
This is the sound of change, the voice of girls rising. Across the Philippines, girls are breaking barriers. They live through conflict and crisis. Yet they rise with courage each day. They face digital risks, but we're fighting back with education, safety, and awareness. We're investing in education and economic empowerment, so no girl is left behind. When girls lead, progress follows. When we listen, equality begins. This is not just their fight, it's ours. Join the movement, amplify voices, inspire policy, strengthen solidarity. Because to stand with girls means to stand for the future.
Thank you so much, Miss Pebbles, for that welcoming remarks and unveiling the Stand with Girls campaign.
Yes, pero before we proceed to the next parts of the program, we would like to invite once again Mayor Joy Belmonte,
Miss Pebbles Sanchez Ogang,
Councilor Jolene Alison Medalla,
Miss Maria Margarita S. Mejia,
Attorney Maria Lara Dominic Sanchez,
Mr. Per Nicolay Langas,
Miss Elia Oplas,
Honorable Attorney Rachel Anges Herrera,
Miss Reza De Hito,
Miss Maan Escobedo,
and Miss Ana Marie De La Torre for a photo op. So dito po muna tayo sa stage po. And then after that po, magkakaroon po ng mega 0.5 shot po with our participants. Yes, ayun naman po, kayo po ay nakatalikod naman po sa crowd. Pag gano'n naman po yung shots po. Oh, yes po. Bababa na lang po. Okay, bababa na lang po pala.
Alright, we kindly request everyone to stand up and compress tayo for a photo opportunity with our VIP and guests.
Ayan, I think nagsa-stand chairs. chairs moving.
Actually, no, medyo dikit-dikit tayo guys para kita tayo lahat sa camera.
Tama.
Alright everyone, we'll have a short video lang. Sabay-sabay nating sasabihin, hashtag stand with girls. Okay, practice. 1, 2, 3, go! Hashtag stand with girls. Okay, one more. Okay, we stand with girls. Okay, sabay-sabay. 1, 2, 3, go! We stand with girls. Woo! Oh, one last daw, yung nakapag-breakfast. Kaya ba yun? Alright. 1, 2, 3, go! We stand with girls! Woo! There you have it.
Perfect!
Palakpakan ulit, everyone!
And syempre, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng tumayo, nag-take ng time to join the photo opportunity. Patikim pa lang po yan sa ating napakagandang discussions, but we will keep the conversations going and our minds thinking dahil unti-unti nang nagbubuklat ang ating first session.
Tama. Excited na ako dyan, Rinoa. You know, umaga pa lang ang daming insights na, no?
It's like my brain is now officially energized.
Yes, exactly. And now, alam naman natin na ang digital world ay sobrang lawak. Pero hindi dapat ito maging safe haven para sa mga nananamantala. Girls deserve to be safe both online and offline.
Yes, sama ka dyan, kuya. Kasi we have different dangers. Kanina na-mention nga yung OSAIC, which is online sexual abuse or exploitation of children. At syempre, since we're talking about digital safety, we would like to advise everyone na I believe, wag mo na mag-post ng real-time photos to prevent online safety na rin. And don't put your locations, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga participants na wala pa sa legal age. Perfect, di ba? So ayan, let's dive deep into our first session, Safeguarding Girls Online, Local Government Units on the Front Line. We will launch a critical research study today on LGU readiness. Paano ba natin masusubok ang kahandahan ng isang local government unit when we talk about implementing programs against OSAIC?
Yes, that sound intense, pero you know what? Kailangan natin yan. Kaya you know, I'm very excited.
Yes, we will have our moderator for the first session. Let's welcome Ms. Ovi Javier, Casting a Wider Net Project Manager of Plan International Pilipinas. Palakpakan naman po natin
A
siya.
round of applause, everyone!
Thank you so much, JJ and Noah. I do hope kaya kong pantayan yung energy ng ating mga youth hosts. And again, good morning, everyone. And I could still feel the strong energy as we make sure that our goal for this event is that to unite all our stakeholders in making girls' rights a reality. Sabi nga ni Miss Pebbles kanina, no? Hashtag stand with girls. And if we stand with girls, we stand with the future. Now, tama kayo kanina, nabanggit ni JJ at ni Noah, no? This session will be intense mainly because everyone here is involved and has a part. At in short, sabi nga nila, lahat tayo relate. Di ba nga? So, at dahil dyan, everyone here is invited to participate, particularly and also our online viewers via our Facebook live stream. And this session invites everyone to share their thoughts, reactions, comments, and recommendations. Basta usapang kabataan, kababaihan, at kaligtasan. Now, as we move forward to this session, I'll be inviting everyone first to watch the video of our presenter for this study. So for this study, our session on safeguarding girls online, LGU's Frontline, we have a study by Dr. Maria Divina Gracia Roldan from the De La Salle University. The study is entitled An Assessment of the Capacity of Local Government Units in Implementing Rules and Regulations of Republic Act 11930 and a cost study of the implementing of anti-OSAIC program. We've heard from Mayor Joy and of course Ms. Pebbles yung mga efforts about 11930. And we all know kapag ang isang policy, if a policy is approved, our local government units are obliged to adopt these mandates in their own cities and municipalities. And with that, through one of PLAN's project under the Protection from Violence portfolio, Connect to Protect or C2P, also known as Uniting Against Online Sexual Abuse and Exploitation of Children, multi-stakeholders collaborations for a safe digital space. The keyword there is stakeholder. And through this session, this study, we may be able to grasp how our LGUs participate and respond with RA 11930. So later on, our panel of reactors and of course our participants here, we encourage you to share your thoughts on the study that we will be showcasing to you via the video. Just to remind everyone, all of us have their own kits, tama ba? Wearing all your shirts. Inside your kits are the fact sheets about this study. So without further ado, we will be playing the video and later on we will be having our panel of discussion. Thank you.
Research project team, namely Dr. Ador Torneo, Dr. Caridad Taroja, Dr. Marites Tionco, and Ms. Ella Oplas, with the assistance of Ms. Ariane Fajardo, our project coordinator. I would like to thank Plan International Pilipinas, today's hosts and guests, for the opportunity to share with you the highlights of our study entitled An Assessment of the Capacity of Local Government Units in Implementing Rules and Regulations of Republic Act 11930 and a cost study of implementing an anti-OSAIC program. The study seeks to address the central question: what is the capacity level of LGUs at the city, municipal, and barangay levels to implement Republic Act 1193 and its IRR? Here are our key findings. On legal capacity, RA 11930 has been localized in Manila and Dasmariñas City, with city-level ordinances enacted to operationalize the law. On the city level, Manila's OSAIC Ordinance, Ordinance number 9077, provides comprehensive provisions on child protection and OSAIC prevention, addressing the roles of various stakeholders. It reflects specific provisions of RA 11930's IRR, focusing on trauma-informed and child-friendly approaches for both the victims and the response team. It also includes detailed protocols and resource requirements for case intake involving children. Additionally, the ordinance assigns the safekeeping of the database to the designated local council as part of its functions. Dasmariñas City Government OSAIC Ordinance number 08-S-2021 offers more generalized guidelines. It includes general provisions on child protection against OSAIC with a distinct mention of alignment with the local development plan. The city's ordinance mandates follow-through mechanisms such as evaluation, assessments, and program reviews. Emphasis is also placed on educating and outlining the responsibilities of parents, with the local council tasked to organize a local parents' council. Dasmariñas imposes a fine of 5,000 pesos and/or imprisonment for up to 1 year for violators. However, only Barangay Sampaloc 4 in Dasmariñas, Cavite has adopted an anti-OSAIC ordinance at the barangay level. There are no existing anti-OSAIC and anti-CSIM ordinances in Llorente, Eastern Samar. Across LGUs, there is limited knowledge of the law's IRR among the local government workers. In general, LGUs integrate OSAIC prevention and response into existing programs of the Violence Against Women and Children, or the VAUCI, and the Local Council for the Protection of Children, and the Barangay Council for the Protection of Children, or the BCPC. Cities such as Manila and Dasmariñas typically exhibit greater administrative capacity compared to municipalities such as Llorente, Eastern Samar. Barangays, which are expected to serve as the front line in implementing anti-OSAIC and anti-CSIM policies, typically have lower administrative capacity and fewer resources. This disparity is reflected in the number of personnel and existing resources at their disposal. To a large extent, we find that the implementation of anti-OSAIC policies is still largely entrusted to or assumed to be under the purview of existing bodies such as the City or Municipal Social Work and Development Office, the Council for the Protection of Children, and Women and Child Protection Units, and Violence Against Women and Children. There are a few dedicated anti-OSAIC and CSIM specific bodies or units within LGUs. On relational capacity, among LGUs, the relational capacity or the ability to coordinate effectively with other government agencies is the strongest at the city level. Barangays have relatively lower relational capacity in terms of implementing anti-OSAIC and anti-CSIM laws, despite being at the front line. This stems in part from their more limited authority, resources, networks, and familiarity with the law. At the barangay level, there is still some lack of clarity in terms of the scope of jurisdiction and roles of the barangay and its officials to other concerned units such as the DSWD and PNP. Despite the need to clarify referral pathways at the national level, we observed that most of the LGUs in the study have established mechanisms for coordinating with other government agencies and units involved in implementing anti-OSAIC and anti-CSIM policies, although the degree to which these are established varies. The City of Manila has had Child Protection Handbook with a referral pathway since 2021 and has described a system of coordination with other national agencies and local units, including barangays. Similarly, the City of Dasmariñas, Cavite has its own system for coordination. The Llorente Municipality in Eastern Samar and both Barangay Salawag and Sampaloc in Dasmariñas, Cavite are familiar with the anti-OSAIC and anti-CSIM acts and concepts, but have not fully established a system for coordinating with other agencies on this issue. Nevertheless, LGUs have established mechanisms for collaboration with various government units and agencies tasked with implementing an anti-OSAIC and anti-CSIM policies. Additionally, LGUs partner with schools, hospitals, church-based organizations, NGOs, and other civil society groups to raise community awareness of OSAIC. On fiscal capacity, in the absence of ordinances with clearly stated fiscal allocations for OSAIC-related activities, child protection programs and OSAIC initiatives are financed primarily through 1% of the Internal Revenue Allotment, or the IRA, now the National Tax Allotment, the NTA, allocated to the City Council for the Protection of Children, the CCPC, the Local Council for the Protection of Children, the LCPC, the Barangay Council for the Protection of Children, the BCPC, or the Gender and Development, the GAD. Looking at the fiscal position of the LGUs for the past 10 years, Manila is independent from both the NTA or IRA for locally sourced funds and externally sourced funds. The city allocated and utilized an estimated 22 billion pesos for its programs, projects, and activities for the protection of children. Dasmariñas City, for its part, showed high dependence on NTA IRA for locally sourced funds. From 2019 to 2023, Barangay Sampaloc 4 allocated funds for the BCPC and the GAD programs. It spent 2.3 million pesos for the protection of children sourced from the BCPC and GAD funding. Regardless of LGU classification, LGUs are still highly IRA or NTA dependent on locally sourced funds. This raises concerns about their capacity to mobilize resources and sustain OSAIC-related programs, projects, and activities. Based on the findings, the following recommendations are proposed. On the LGU's legal capacity, there is a need to strengthen information dissemination of the Anti-OSAIC and Anti-CSAM Act and its IRR at the city, municipal, and barangay levels. Currently, pockets of information about the law exist within certain individuals and offices in the city government, such as the Social Welfare and Development Office, the VAUSI consultants, and counselors who are proponents of the Anti-OSAIC Ordinance. However, there is a need for broader dissemination of the law across offices in the city and municipal governments and barangays to increase awareness. This is particularly important for offices whose work directly contributes to preventing OSAIC and CSAM. There is also a need to conduct training for municipal and barangay councils drafting and implementing anti-OSAIC and anti-CSAM ordinances, as well as aligning local OSAIC-related policies and guidelines with RA 11930 and its IRR. On enhancing the LGU's administrative capacity, the cities covered in this study have demonstrated advanced levels of awareness and substantial administrative capacity to implement anti-OSAIC and anti-CSAM laws, largely due to the efforts and interventions of NGOs and advocacy groups. However, this degree of awareness and capacity is not yet shared by many other LGUs across the country. At the city and municipal levels, efforts can focus on developing the capacity of existing child protection bodies and relevant units to integrate OSAIC and CSAM within their functions. This will also entail developing awareness, sensitizing and training officials in pertinent policies and practices, as well as designated specific officials or units for handling OSAIC and CSAM cases. On the LGU's relational capacity, it is important to establish a clear and official referral pathway recognized by different agencies, and to integrate as well and systematize all related efforts. It is important to provide training to LGUs to enhance their competencies in program planning and implementation and resource mobilization to include alternative funding sources. Many LGUs, particularly barangays, have limited competencies, budgets, and experience in implementing anti-OSAIC programs. Building these capacities is necessary to prepare and enable them to effectively carry out the tasks and mandates specified in RA 11930 and its IRR. A regular training program that considers election cycles is necessary to bring about a new set of LGU officials equipped with the knowledge, awareness, and skills to combat OSAIC and implement the law. On building fiscal capacity, while RA 11930 does not include explicit guidelines for the allocation of funds, LGUs have demonstrated adaptability by leveraging their LCPC and GAD budgets to address issues related to OSAIC and CSEC. Given no mandated percentage specifically for anti-OSAIC and anti-CSAM, LGUs can determine resource allocation based on their unique needs and capacities. Key recommendations include assessment of the prevalence of cases and identification of specific needs to make evidence-based budgeting decisions. Moreover, with increased fiscal capacity due to the Mandanas ruling or increased NTA allocation, utilization rates of budgets allocated for anti-OSAIC programs and activities should be monitored and evaluated to ensure funds are spent effectively. An annual review of the budget allocation can include provisions to reallocate any unused funds toward anti-OSAIC programs and projects. LGUs would also benefit from partnerships with institutions offering training and capacity programs to strengthen their competencies in program planning and implementation. Moreover, collaborations with educational institutions and private companies, such as telcos and tech firms, could support child protection efforts by enhancing surveillance, reporting mechanisms, and technical capabilities. Overall, the implementation of RA 11930 at the local level is crucial in curbing OSAIC. It is critical to enhance LGU's capacities across the legal, administrative, relational, and fiscal dimensions. Strengthening these capacities will provide LGUs with the tools and resources needed to effectively implement the law and address OSAIC. Thank you. Good day, my name is Maria Divina Gracia Roldan.
Presenting the results of these studies. So before we move forward to our panel, para magkaroon ng energy at masustain ng energy, our AM snacks is being served to all our participants. And if you do have some food restrictions, based on the registration, please do go at our pantry on the left sides para po ma-address ang inyong mga requests in terms of our AM snack, except for the tables 1 to 7. No, kung mapapansin ninyo, dear participants, our study is basically focusing on the LGUs and how they implement RA 11930. How is this important to you? Sino dito ang mga kabataan? Itaas ang kamay? Yes, because the programs, the budgets that has been shared by these LGUs, you can use that so that you can promote all advocacies that you want to promote, particularly sa mga grupo na pinopromote ng Plan International Pilipinas. At dahil dyan, i-check muna natin, kamusta na ba ang bawat isa? Are we still having that same energy from earlier? Can I say a yes? Ayan. So, sino dito ang mahilig mag-online? Sino dito ang pagkagising pa lang, hawak na ang cellphone? Taas ang mga kamay. Sino yung mga aminado dyan? But yeah, just to check, before we call our panel of reactors, we would like to get your opinion. Sino dito ang minsan nakakakita ng post or message online na na hindi kayo kampante or hindi kayo komportable. You've seen some posts online, you don't feel comfortable, you feel ew, you feel ick, hindi 6'7". Sino dito? Can you raise your hand? Mga nakakakita ng post, medyo may ilan na hindi comfortable. Sige, later on, we'll be addressing those in relation to 11930 through our reaction. Then, sino naman dito ang minsan na may shinare online na medyo nagsisi, naku, bakit ko shinare? Diba? Medyo hindi tayo na sure na shinare ko yan, then eventually delete later. Meron ba dito? You chose to upload, you chose to post, however you were not convinced on that post. Meron ba? Uy, mukhang wala. It means that they're sure of what they are posting online. And finally, sino naman dito yung nakakaalam? If ever you feel insecure on the post that you see about you online, sino dito ang familiar ko saan i-report iyon? Meron ba? Nakakaalam? Uy, may mga ilang nagtataas. And with that, i-adjust natin yung mga concerns and questions na yan. And this time around, may we call on our STEAM panel of reactors from today's study that was presented by by Dr. Grace. So let's start with our STEAM panel of reactors. First, may we call on Attorney Maria Lara Dominic Sanchez from the Department of Justice, NCC OSAIC. I'm happy to see you again, Attorney Lara. We also have Ms. Maria Margarita S. Mejia, DPA, the head of Business Permit and Licensing Department from Quezon City Government. Yes, have a seat. May we also have Per Nicolay Langas, Nordic Liaison Officer from the Embassy of the Kingdom of Norway to the Philippines. Okay. And we also have, may we call on Ms. Ella Opias from De La Salle University. And finally, to complete our reactors, may we call on Ms. Sophie Lorraine, our youth advocate. Ayan. So let's all have a seat po. While we prepare ourselves for this session, for our dear panel of reactors, kakaiba po, different ang ating approach for this session. Ano po? Mahalaga ang participation ng ating mga, of course, audience, our participants. That's why, when you react to that study that was presented a while ago, we will base on the questions of our participants, both online and here po. So, the question is, are we ready? Of course! Ayan po. So, for our participants, while we enjoy the AM snacks being served to us, we will be encouraging you to ask questions based on the study presented a while ago. I think meron na po tayo dito, and we will be starting to you, Attorney Lara. Okay lang ba? Yes, they will be asking a question. The question. Ayan, so meron tayo, I think, from, sino ba? Table 15, I think. We have Princess there. Ayan po, si Princess. Can we have a mic for Princess? Ayan, from table 15.
Hello. Isang makabatang umaga po sa inyong lahat. I'm Princess, 17 years old from the province of Occidental Mindoro. This question is for Attorney Lara po. Paano po sinisiguro ng DOJ na nagtutulungan ang mga ahensya ng gobyerno para labanan ang online at child sexual abuse?
Hello? Magandang umaga, Princess, and magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Bago ang lahat ako ay magpapakilala, ako po si Prosecutor Lara Sanchez mula sa Department of Justice. And kami nagpapasalamat sa paanyaya ng Plan International at ng Quezon City Local Government. And we believe that a safe internet is not a privilege, it is every girl's right. Likewise, kung ligtas ang batang babae, ligtas ang buong komunidad. So may I ask the audience to repeat that? Kung ligtas ang batang babae, ligtas ang buong komunidad. Can I hear a chorus of that? 1, 2, 3, go.
Ligtas
ang babae, ligtas ang buong komunidad. Yan. So sa question naman po ni Miss Princess, the National Coordination Center Against OSAIC and CSAM, yung pinanggagalingan ko po na opisina, isang opisina sa loob ng DOJ, it is interagency by nature. Ano po ibig sabihin nun? Secretariat lang po yung opisina namin sa Kagawaran ng Katarungan because we are composed of 28 member agencies from the IACAT plus more agencies. So for a total of 32 kami lahat. So ano po yung mga miyembro na ahensya ng National Coordination Center Against OSAIC and CSAM? So ang co-chair po namin ay DSWD. Miyembro din po dyan ang DFA, DILG, Council for the Welfare of Children, National Telecommunications Commission, Optical Media Board. So, ang approach po talaga natin sa ganitong suliranin ay interagency at whole-of-nation approach kasi hindi po siya kayang gawin ng isang opisina. Since we are all youth here, bata tayo lahat, di ba? Isipin nyo na lang na meron kaming napakalaking group chat na 30 plus member agencies ang kasali para pag merong plano, nababasa ng lahat sa group chat kung ano yung gagawin at hindi kami kanya-kanya ng mga plano sa life pagdating sa laban ng OSAIC at CSAM. Salamat po sa tanong. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you,
po.
Attorney Lara. At kasama kami sa GC na yan, di ba?
Yes.
Okay, so, yun, I hope na-address, Princess, yung ating tanong. I think meron pang isa pang magtatanong, ano? Sino yon? Ayan, sige.
Ayan, isang makabatang umaga po sa ating lahat. Good day po, Attorney Lara. Ang question ko po, ano po yung mga kakulangan na pwedeng mapunan ng ganitong research? Ako po pala si Aya, 15 years old, from the province of Occidental Mindoro.
Hello, Aya. In terms of the research po, kami ay nagpapasalamat sa liksik na ito, pananaliksik na ito. We are very glad to hear the components, yung mga tema. So example, yung fiscal capacity, relational capacity. It provides a unique perspective on how do we strengthen local response for OSAIC and CSAM. So ang top 3 po kasi na sources ng reports ng online child sexual abuse and exploitation of children ay una, foreign referrals, yung mga referrals ng mga foreign law enforcement agencies. Pangalawa, yung undercover investigations po ng ating local law enforcement dito. At pangatlo, ang community reporting. Sa lahat po ng sources of reports for OSAIC and CSAM, pinakamababa po ang community reporting. Kung kaya't ang mga ganitong research, kung paano natin paigtingin ang response sa local level ay napakahalaga. And so, yung lente, the granular level of how it described the response in the barangays, above and beyond the ordinances, ano ba yung kapasidad per barangay. Napakahalaga po niyan. Kasi actually po, ang RA 11930, ang isa niya pong point for improvement is wala pong regional offices ang NCC o SAIC-CSAM. Nasa national lang siya. So, nakarely po kami sa LGUs, although we also have local task forces. Kumbaga, wala kaming, by law, wala kaming district or regional office. The law does not provide for that. So, it's really the LGU which will stand up and in partnership with us on how to strengthen the response. So, pasok sa banga po talaga yung research and we are very grateful to the team of Dr. Rodan. Thank you po.
Thank you, Attorney Lara. And thank you, Aya, for that question in terms of the challenges pagdating na nakikita ng study. And that it's really important that for our LGUs to really adopt this law. And we're grateful kanina with Mayor Joyce sharing na talagang yung mga programs ng Quezon City pagdating sa OSAIC is really pioneering. And I do hope that all our children and youth here dalhin ninyo ito sa inyong mga LGUs. We all have our youth representatives, di ba, sa bawat barangay para doon. Okay, so moving on for the next question and of course to our next panel of reactors, we also have questions from our youth. I think nasa bandang likodan yan. Meron ba? May mga nasa bandang likodan na would like to raise, someone is raising a hand there.
Hello, so good morning everyone. I am Lauren Shindipa Balonia from the Visayas and I am representing the Eastern Samar Youth Advisory Panel. So I am 22 years old and my question is for Miss Margareta po. Nabanggit po kanina ni Honorable or Mayor Joy Belmonte about sa safe seal. So my question po is, ano po ang safe space seal at paano ito nakakatulong para gawing ligtas ang Quezon City para sa mga babae at kabataang babae?
Thank you for that question and good morning everyone. Yung pong QC Safe Seal, SAFE stands for Stop All Forms of Exploitations. And it's a certification program for businesses to make sure that these big businesses, yung all 76,000 registered businesses in Quezon City are operating responsibly and always upholds the rights and protects the dignity of every person dito sa lungsod natin, whether yung kanilang empleyado o yung kanilang customer, yung po yung tinitiyak na napapangalagaan yung kanilang rights and dignity. And it also ensures na yung pong mga negosyo, particularly in the hospitality industry, ay walang nangyayaring exploitation, trafficking, and harassment doon sa negosyo na yon. In fact, maikwento ko lang po, kanina nabanggit ni Mayor Joy, may mga pinasara kaming hotels and motels sa Quezon City. And you know, nung pinasara namin yon kasi nakita po namin na nung nag-operate po ang Interagency Task Force on Anti-Trafficking, nakita po namin na inaalaw nilang mag-check-in yung mga minors unaccompanied by adults and siniserva nila ng liquor. And you know, ang ganda po nang nangyari dahil after na maipasara namin yon at maipost namin sa social media, yung pagkakasara ng establishment na yon, dun po sa mga comment section, became a treasure trove of intelligence for authorities to operate further dun sa iba pang mga establishments that are being used as avenues for human trafficking and exploitation. So, ang ganda po nung and from that, nakita po ni Mayor Joy na dapat yung mga negosyo, una, gawin natin silang partners para maproteksyonan at masigurado na walang nangyayaring exploitation, harassment, and trafficking sa lungsod namin. Paano yun? Siyempre, one, we protect. Paano yun? Pagka dapat po yung mga hotels po dito sa Quezon City, kapag may nag-check-in po na may kasamang bata, kinukuha na ng ID, and we ensure that they are really related and the child is not being trafficked. Di po ba? Yun po yung isa. And also, we want to prevent we want to protect yung establishment. Kasi baka mamaya, unknowingly, hindi rin naman po nila alam na nagiging venue na rin po sila ng exploitation and trafficking. So yun po yung safe seal. Yung safe seal po, it's an emblem, it's given to a business that practices safe and inclusive business practices. Yun po. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you po for that question and thank you Ms. Marge for that. And indeed, we do hope that the SAFE will also be implemented in most LGUs, particularly securing the protection of our children, lalong-lalo na yung pag-check-in sa mga hotel without any supervision of a guardian or a parent. Okay. Sige, meron pa pong tanong para kay Ms. Margie. Okay, there. Someone's raising their hand. Thank you. Isang mapagpalang umaga sa inyong lahat. Ako nga pala si Jane T. Rubinisha from Northern Samar. So, ang tanong ko po ay, anong tulong ang ibibigay ng Quezon City para sa mga survivor ng human trafficking para sila ay makabangon at makabalik sa komunidad?
Ang Quezon City po, meron po siyang whole of government approach. Ano po? Babalik ako dun sa kwento ng mga batang na rescue from that particular hotel na pinasara namin. After po sila na ma-rescue ng Social Services Development Department na inalagaan po sila sa bahay kanlungan at binibigyan din po sila ng mga livelihood opportunities like pangkabuhayang QC at yung iba naman po karamihan po sa kanila mga out of school youth eh. Yung iba po ini-encourage po na magtuloy through our alternative learning system para makapagtapos sila ng pag-aaral at para rin po mas ma-empower sila at mas ma-realize nila na mas marami pang opportunities na naghihintay sa kanila instead of being falling victim to these traffickers. So meron po kaming bahay kanlungan, dyan po namin hinahouse yung ating mga rescued individuals. And then we also have pangkabuhayang QC. And we also have the Quezon City Anti-Trafficking In-Person Council na nag-orient din po, patuloy po, consistent po yung pag-orient yan doon sa ating mga youths na nare-rescue para po mas magkaroon sila ng mas magandang kinabukasan.
Maraming salamat po. Salamat sa tanong at salamat sa pagsagot. Ang bahay kanlungan, di po ba, apart from, it's a mandated na dapat all LGUs should have a bahay kanlungan for the survivors. And what's good is that you have a complete, really holistic,
Yes.
from the response to the reintegration, and aftercare for our survivors. Ano po, Ms. Marge?
Yes, ma'am. And madagdag ko lang po, dito po sa Quezon City, we also came up with a Be Richer scorecard. May mga indicators po yan that measures a business's resiliency, inclusivity, climate adaptation, and health and emergency responsiveness. And ito pong indicators on child trafficking and nandun po yan sa ating Be Richer scorecard. And although konti pa lang po yung nakukuha naming data, pero later on it can be used to come up with more responsive policies and data-driven policies pagdating po sa pagre-regulate ng mga negosyo. So dito po sa Quezon City talagang gusto namin yung mga negosyo sa Quezon City, hindi siya nagiging venue or nagiging way para ma-abuse yung mga kabataan natin. Kaya po meron po tayong Be Richer and meron din tayong Safe Seal program.
Yes, very well said nga, Ms. Marge, na connecting collective data so that the businesses will really help not just their customers but the whole participants or beneficiaries, di po nga, lalong-lalo ng ating kabataan, employees itself. Thank you po. And we do have a better appreciation of what Safe Seal is. Ayan. So, okay. So, moving forward to our next panel, Sir Nicolai, I do hope that we have questions from our participants who would like to ask something about the efforts of the Embassy of Norway in the Philippines. Meron who would like to raise their hands? There in the middle po. Yan.
Good morning to everyone in attendance. I'm Beatrice Hermione Ricamara, but you can call me Herbie. I'm from Quezon City Science High School, and I'd like to direct a question to one of our panelists. Sir Nicolai, how does the Embassy of Norway currently support anti-osaic initiatives in the Philippines? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. The Norwegian Embassy supports both from a law enforcement approach and through development cooperation. So first of all, I will say something about the law enforcement cooperation. Through my office, I represent all the 5 Nordic countries. It's Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, and Finland. It's 20 hours flight from here, so it's far away, and it's down to 1-2 degrees now, so it's freezing cold up there now. So we try to focus on 4 areas. It's number one, for prevention and advocacy. Number two, prosecution and law enforcement. Number three, protection and reintegration of children. And number four, partnership and networking. So I would like to use this opportunity as well to give some credits to PMP and MBI, as they are two of our most important partners here in the Philippines. We have a cooperation with them through something called PICAC, and PICAC stands for the Philippine Internet Crimes Against Children Center. So their purpose is to coordinate all operations from the police and the cooperation together with foreign law enforcement. So we meet up in Kamkam, that's the headquarters for PMP, once a week, and we try to together investigate, prevent, and prosecute cases of online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. So there are so many countries down here like me, like liaison officers, is from US, Canada, Australia, the Nordic countries like me, and France, Germany. So there are so many other countries down here to be a part of this combat against sexual abuse. And I believe some of you wonder how we work when it comes to a normal criminal case. I would like to give you a short example. So if the police in my country, in Norway, if they conduct an arrest of a perpetrator, they normally will start to look into their devices. There's laptops, telephones, and they will examine these devices based on the search warrant from the court in Norway. And sometimes they find leads to the Philippines. It could be chats, money transfers, who indicate that this person has been into sexual abuse by sharing sexual materials. He could be ordering sex shows online. And then it's my job to make sure that this information from Norway will be handed over to PMP or MBI, so they, based on this information from Norway, could try to hunt and track down the facilitator in the Philippines. It could be in Manila, Cebu, all over the Philippines. So we have so many cases going on now and from before that shows that the police cooperation is so important by sharing information. So for me, this is a passion as of arresting perpetrators back home and try to track down facilitators down in the Philippines. And on the other hand, for the development cooperation, we support the multi-year programming of Plan International Filipinas as this event, working with communities and local governments, improving the cooperation between students and their families and communities. So I think that was my answer for this very good question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very detailed information.
Thank you po.
I was really listening to the sharing of your collaboration with our law enforcement agencies. They have a very important role because they're the first responders to our survivors of abuse. And of course, the other support that you provide to the community, particularly your partnership with Plan International Pilipinas. And very much looking forward to more partnerships with your country, the Norway and all the other countries with the 20-hour flight. Okay, so for our next panel of reactor, Ms. Ella, ayan po. So perhaps may we ask again our youth participants, our guests here, someone is raising their hand for our next question po. On this left side po, can we give her a mic?
Hello po. My name is Andy Blake and I am representing St. Pedro Poveda College. I am 17 years old. I wanted to ask, when conducting the research, why did you decide on specifically Manila City, Dasmariñas City, and Llorente? Is there any significance behind those choices? I would love to hear your insights. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So again, I am Ella Oplas. I am from De La Salle University, and I am part of the team. I also would like to recognize my colleagues who are also present here. We have Dr. Ador Torneo, and then Dr. Marites Chongko. No? Thank you very much. So that's a very good question. No? So why did we zero in those local government units? Primarily, the first requirement is presence of Plan Philippines. They have to be partners of Plan Philippines. No? So yeah, that's the primary purpose. And also, we worked hand in hand with Plan in identifying the LGUs. No? So we took we made sure that there's the municipality, city, and then of course the barangays, 2 barangays each.
Okay, so I hope that was answered and very specific yung areas talaga na target for this study. And we do hope that through this study, more LGUs would appreciate the result and at the same time replicate. Ika nga. Okay, thank you for that question and thank you again, Ms. Ella, for sharing that. Now, our youth advocate Sophie here, nag-uusap
Hi,
kami.
everyone. Hello
Yeah,
po.
nag-uusap
Good
kami
afternoon.
kanina. You're from?
Llorente, Eastern Summer po.
Ayan, she's from Lorente, one of the target of the study. So she can really relate to this one. So this time for Sophie, I think you have an online question. Ano, this time from our viewers from our FB streaming. So their question is, ano ang pwedeng gampaning papel ng mga kabataan sa laban na to? What's your role, the role of the youth in this fight against OSAEC?
Well, you know, as a youth, as an active member of the Youth Peer Educator of Connect to Protect project, I firmly believe that the greatest rule or greatest act of the youth is to be an active advocate. So youth is part of youth nowadays is living in a digital world, and we are already exposed to internet and so on. So by this, we already know we are exposed to internet. We are online. We are creative, and we are capable of leading change. So, in accordance to this, I believe that the youth is capable of leading campaigns, creating digital contents, and collaborating with leaders to enhance the protection mechanism against children. And by this, if we practice responsible cyber citizenship, we can establish where we can protect ourselves and also the future of the Philippines, or the world rather, which are the children. So that's all po. Thank you.
Okay, very well said, Sophie. You know, it's Sophie's first time to join here. So, bigyan natin ng masigabong palakpakan si Sophie for sharing that responsible cyber citizenship. And that's one of the advocacies of our projects under the protection from violence, ika nga. Now, as we conclude our session for this morning, may I again ask our panel of reactors to share one word, just one word, on your pinaka-highlight, what the highlight for this discussion and your reflection for the topic here for safeguarding girls online, LGUs on fund. Just a word that you can share for everyone. Biglaan ba? Ayan, maybe like, for example, like safe seal, that's your word. So si Sophie, what word can we, kumbaga, a parting word in relation to our session as we end this panel?
Can I start?
Anyone?
For me, let's keep everybody, especially the girls, safe. And let's stop, and safe meaning stop all forms of exploitations. Yun lang po. Yun talaga yung battle cry namin dito sa Quezon City. We want to stop all forms of exploitations, whether it be in the home or in businesses, in establishments, or in public places. Dapat protektado po lahat At ini-ensure natin that everybody is protected and their rights are respected.
And we will re-echo that on our own LGUs, Ms. Marge.
Yes, please. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Safe. Okay, Attorney Lara?
Since the word safe is taken, my word would be empower. Diba? Let us empower ourselves. Remember na hindi ka lang, babae ka. Diba? I'll repeat that. Hindi ka babae lang, babae ka. So we should always empower ourselves, empower each other as women, as girls, because we are capable of so much more than what society boxes us to be. So let's continue to shatter the glass ceilings. Thank you po.
Empower and babae tayo, Attorney Lara. Thank you. Okay, anyone po from the team, from the group?
Siguro consistent to the message of the study, no? It's really localization. No? We already have a law. No? We already have the law in place. And these things are happening in the locals. No? So it's very important for us to make sure that our local chief executives, no, are able to come up with the respective ordinances to make sure that this law is localized. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ella. Localization, and let our children and youth here bring that in their communities.
Yes, for me it will be change, and that's based on the data from the Philippine National Police, which said that from 2022 to December 24, there were 636 rescued victims. And that means that there's been a change for over 600 minors being into sexual abuse. They are now living another kind of life, you know, out of sexual abuse, because people are engaged, they raise their voices like you here today. So it will be change for me.
Change because of the rising awareness and really responding to this situation. Thank you, Sir Nicolai. And of course, Sophie.
Hello. So the word for me that really concludes all this is syempre, responsibility. When you are responsible and accessing online internets, and also if the parents, for me, if the parents would be there to parent their children and to teach them the responsibility of being a cyber citizen, they would not face any such cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Responsibility. And there you have it, coming from your co-children and youth. For most of our participants here, be responsible enough and also seek the guidance of your parents. And alongside with all the members of our panel here, let's voice the localization of RA 11930. Of course, with the help of our national government, our model for different LGUs, and of course, our friends from different embassies in other countries. And let's do hope that more studies will conduct this to provide more information about 11930. And with that, thank you to our dear panels. And of course, let's all give them a round of applause for our participants. And now we will be endorsing to our very full of energy hosts, Noah and JJ. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much po, Ms. Ovi. And of course, we would like to request our panel of reactors to stay here on the stage first for the awarding of the plaques po.
So we will be giving to you this plaque of appreciation. Allow me to read this. This plaque of appreciation is given to, for example, Sophia Lorraine Cabadsan, our youth advocate, in recognition of her valuable contribution as a panelist in the discussion Safeguarding Girls Online, LGUs on the Frontline, held during the Girls Summit event on October 30, 2025 at the Quezon City Meeting Incentives Conference and Exhibition, or MICE Center, given this 30th day of October 2025, signed by Ms. Pablo Sanchez Ogang, Executive Director of Plan International Pilipinas, and Honorable Maria Josefina G. Belmonte, Mayor of Quezon City Government. Okay. So we will be having a photo op for the... May we request everyone to join the stage for the photo op for your plaque of appreciation.
Okay, let's give them a warm round of applause, everyone. All right, what a way to start our panel discussion for today with the session 1. Thank you so much, Miss Obi, for leading the panel discussion. And grabe, no, session 1 pa lang ang dami ng insights, no. It's very important to localize our initiatives on safety ng mga kababaihan natin, especially on the presence of online world, no? So it's very important na yung mga kababaihan natin, especially young girls, no, to take note ng mga panel discussion natin.
Yes, tama ka dyan, Kuya JJ. And I'd also like to mention how we talked about how local government units, national government agencies, civil society organizations, and other organizations can work together to empower and engage with young women. At nagustuhan ko yung sinabi kanina ni Prosecutor Lara, shattering the glass ceilings that limit us.
Kaya nga,
Perfect,
diba?
perfect po
Perfect
siya.
tayo dyan.
Kaya naman we need to apply those learnings. Pero syempre, that's just the first session. Marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan. Let's now move on to a topic that is very close to our heart, especially for us young women.
Yes, kaya hindi na natin papatagalin pa. Ito na ang Session 2, Resilience and Crisis, Protecting and Empowering Girls. Ito ay ang usapang kung saang paano magiging matatag ang mga girls in times of emergency.
Yes, kaya naman to kick off the discussion for this session, please welcome once again our moderator for Session 2, Ms. Pebble Sanchez-Ogang, our Executive Director of Plan International Pilipinas. Palakpakan naman po natin.
Thank you, Renoa. Thank you, JJ. Gising pa ba tayo? Okay pa? Okay, so pwede bang sabay-sabay? Stand with girls! Okay, may energy pa, no? Thank you again, JJ and Renoa. They've been doing a great job. And thank you as well to our panelists and moderators from the first panel discussion. So, apart from protection from violence, one of the thematic priority sectors of Plan International Pilipinas is resilience and humanitarian. And we do this because we believe in these three things. First, girls, children, and young people, you should enjoy full and equal access to your rights, and that should not be hindered by conflict, climate change, and disasters. Second, we integrate resilience and humanitarian action, such as disaster response, because we know that when we combine the two, we strengthen the most vulnerable and marginalized, because climate change resilience bridges immediate humanitarian or disaster response action and long-term development effort. And third, girls, young people, and your communities are not only beneficiaries, but you're agents of resilience and social transformation. You have the power to make your communities and your schools be prepared to any forms of disaster. And that is what this conversation is all about, no? We will be able to understand your vulnerabilities and at the same time, your power to co-create solutions. So, for our next panel, I am honored to be joined by powerful and inspiring women leaders whom, again, I personally and truly look up to. So si Ate Pebbles, ang first official work ni Ate Pebbles ay sa Philippine Climate Change Commission. At during that time, our first panelist, she has already been helping develop legislations on environmental protection and climate change. She was then the chief of staff of no less than Senator Lauren Legarda. And so she has been in the climate space for a very long time already. And when we learned that she will be taking on the commissioner role at the Climate Change Commission, I think a lot of people were really at her back supporting her. So let me warmly introduce the women's voice in the Philippine Climate Change Commission under the Office of the President, our girl champion, Commissioner Rachel Ann Herrera. Thank you very much, Com Rachel. Now, our next panelist. I think she has the humanitarian in her blood already. Parang feeling ko kapag paggising pa lang niya, ang susunod nating panelist, immediate humanitarian action na. She has led various institutions and movements, not just in the Philippines, but worldwide. And that she has been there on the ground providing life-saving assistance. In fact, during the recent earthquake in Cebu, she was there together with our consortium providing support to people that are most at need. The international non-government organization that our next panelist is leading also spearheads a European Union Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid, or what we call ECHO-funded project and consortium called Access, where Plan International Pilipinas is part of, and the Philippine Inclusive NGO Network, or PINGON, which is also a humanitarian network of humanitarian actors here in the Philippines. We have with us another girl champion and the country director of CARE Philippines, Ms. Riza Dihito. Grabe, kinikilabutan ako sa mga speakers natin ngayon. Kaya listen very well during this panel. And of course, I have been very privileged to interact with our next panelist, who is not only shaped by her experiences on climate and disaster impacts in Navotas, but is also influencing her peers to drive change and to act on these issues. She is a member of our Youth Advisory Panel at Plan International Pilipinas and was Little Quezon City Councilor Doc Eli Juan during this year's Girls Takeover. Let's all welcome the waterproof and our girl leader, Iris. Where's Iris? Come on up, Iris. Again, kwentuhan lang naman tayo ngayon, ano? And thank you very much to our panelists for joining us. But before we start the conversation, let's just make a quick temperature check among our girl and youth leaders and participants. So by show of hands, sino ba sa inyo ang nakaranas ng bagyo o lindol o pagbaha ngayong taon? Taas ang kamay. No? Halos lahat tayo naranasan ito. And based on a UNICEF study, we have partner from UNICEF. In the Philippines, nearly 97% of children are exposed to at least 3 types of hazards. And girls and women, as we all know, are disproportionately affected. Okay, next question naman. Sino naman ngayon, nung nagkaroon ng sakuna, ang nag-volunteer o kumilos para makatulong sa panahon ng kalamidad? Malaki man o maliit na tulong, sino sa inyo ang nag-abot ng tulong? Thank you very much. We see the spirit of volunteerism high in this room, and we hope to continue empowering all of you because we know that we all have a role to play. And finally, sino naman sa inyo ang naniniwala na may magagawa pa tayo para mag-adapt sa nagbabagong klima at paghandaan ang mga sakuna, lalong-lalo na po dito sa Metro Manila, ang the big one? Sino po dito ang sa tingin may pag-asa pa, may magagawa pa? Yes, of course. That's why we are all here. We are standing with girls at mapag-uusapan pa natin kung ano-ano pa yung pwede nating gawin mamaya, no? So let's start this conversation already. Let's put the spotlight to Commissioner Rachel. Rachel, very briefly, our participants would like to ask, where is the Philippines now in terms of its vulnerability to climate change and disasters? And how are girls and young people being impacted?
Good morning. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Thank you, Ma'am Pebbles, at sa lahat po ng mga nandito. Klaro naman, no? Oo. Maganda po talaga ang pagplano ng Plan International sa pagbuo ng session na ito. So thank you for inviting the Climate Change Commission and for putting together this session on resilience. And with that question, where is the Philippines in terms of vulnerability? So I would like to really laud Ma'am Pebbles for asking first the question to our audience. Kung nakaranas na ba kayo, nasan kayo, kung nung mga nakaraang sakuna, bagyo ba, o pagbaha. Because that is really, I think, the starting point of when we talk about climate impacts ng Pilipinas bilang isang bansa, it really goes down to the experience of every Filipino being vulnerable as an individual or as a member of the family or community. At dun po tayo magsisimula na ano ang pwede nating gawin. Because when we want to say we want to be resilient, it means we are acknowledging that we are somehow vulnerable, and then we are going to work through the system of how we prevent, how we anticipate what is going to happen, and how we absorb and adapt to become resilient. So from the Philippine government's perspective, salamat po sa oportunidad na makapag-share kami ngayong umaga dito sa napakalaking Girls Summit at kasama mismo ang mga batang babae. At may mga kalalakihan din, syempre tayong kasama. So we are actually one of the most vulnerable countries in the world. At hindi lang po yan dahil sa mga bagyo, but overall, pagbaha, landslide, drought, meaning sobrang tuyo ng kapaligiran o ng hangin, sobrang init. If we look at the data and the experiences po across the country, we are cited as #1 country most at risk to these disasters, which are caused scientifically based on studies due to the warming of the planet. And this is what is called generally overall climate change. So the Philippines has been most impacted, meaning in terms of mga taong apektado with their way of life, with the productivity of our employees ng mga nagtatrabaho in the labor sector, kahit syudad man yan o sa countryside, sa mga ating magsasaka, mangingisda. So, talking about the Girls Summit, Stand with Girls, it's a really important conversation because women and girls bear the burden of the impacts in a disproportionate manner. Kasi dahil po sa ating kultura, nakasanayan na ng maraming henerasyon, women and girls have different roles that society has more or less assigned and which we are trying to overcome or which we are trying to address. Yung mga inequities or inequalities na po na kadalasan ng mga nanay, mga babae sa bahay ay ang siyang may responsibilidad sa pagkain, sa pagninigurado na may tubig, sa pag-aalaga ng mga kapatid, sa pag-aayos po ng bahay, and so on. And then, women and girls also have challenges in access to resources. So, meron po ba tayong tamang impormasyon? Nakakapunta po ba sa paaralan? Nakakapag-aral ba? Enrolled ba ang ating mga batang babae? So, all these, at pag tinignan nyo ang sitwasyon ng bansa o ng buong mundo na marami na po tayong mga naranasang sakuna, climate linked disasters, then it's very important to provide our girls and our women with the right resources, with the right knowledge, and maybe the use of technology to really put us in roles that have, enabling us to act and also be leaders in our own right.
Thank you.
Ma'am
Thank you
Pebbles.
very
Thank
much,
you.
Com Rachel. Clearly, there are multiple burdens that girls and women are carrying. And now, kung layer ito, kung idagdag mo pa yung climate change at disasters, mas nagiging mabigat yung mga challenges na kinakaharap natin. Thank you again, Com Rachel. And I'd also like to ask Riza, because Riza has been at the forefront, really, based on your experience responding to not just calamities caused by climate change and disasters, but also to conflict situations. You're also driving recovery and rehabilitation initiatives. What do you think are the most common difficulties of girls and young people in times of disasters?
Yeah, thank you, Pebbles. Before anything else, I would just like to say that it's such a joy to be here. No, ang daming young women and girls, and this actually reminds us of why we work. Why we do the work that we do. Yeah, exactly. So really, really honored to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And resilience and crisis. When we talk about resilience, gusto kong bumalik tayo sa realidad. That for many girls in the Philippines, growing up amidst crisis, growing up amidst disasters, is actually not an exception. It's already the rule, it's already the norm, it's already the everyday life, no? So lahat sa atin, I think not one of us can say na hindi kami nakaranas ng bagyo or ng earthquake or floods. So this is our life. This is our way of life. And at CARE, we see this through our work with Access. So very, gusto ko lang i-plug yung Access. Ano yung Access? It's actually a partnership of 14 local, national, and international NGOs. They are funded by the European Commission, or the European Union, ECHO. And we respond to different types of crises all over the Philippines. And actually, Plan International Pilipinas, we're very fortunate to have Plan with us as one of our partners, also with Access. So anyway, that's Access. And one thing we've learned from our work with Access again and again is that calamities, disasters, crises, emergencies, conflict, whatever we call them, they do not create inequality. They actually expose inequality. So meron ng inequality doon. So they reveal who gets heard, they reveal who gets left behind, they reveal who bears the heaviest burden when everything falls apart. No? Kasi when you talk about meron na tayong mga systems, no, as a government. But sometimes these systems actually fail because policing of these policies and laws and systems can actually be disrupted during emergencies. So, yun na, may nakikita na tayong mga gender-based violence, mga trafficking, yung mga ganong mga pang-aabuso because the policing has been disrupted. So, a few weeks ago, I was in Northern Cebu, of course, with Pebbles. She was also there. And you've probably seen in the photos, no, na marami yung mga barangay has become tent cities. They have turned into tent cities. Marami ding mga houses that have actually collapsed, schools and classrooms that have actually collapsed, and you can no longer use them. But what you don't see in the photos are actually the quiet and small struggles, especially of girls. So sometimes when you go to the tent cities, sinasabi ng mga girls na ayoko pong pumunta sa toilet o sa latrine at night because walang light at walang kandado or so they have to wait until morning para mag-use ng toilet, and then we actually have reports that some of them already have urinary tract infections.
Because they don't want to go there.
Exactly, because they don't want to go there. And some of them, because you've also heard that they're sleeping outside of their houses, right? Kasi natatakot na silang bumalik sa mga bahay nila. And because of that, they actually sleep in jeans, no, mga maong. Tapos they wrap themselves in blankets because they are so uncomfortable sleeping in the open with strangers, basically looking at them. And then, of course, we also have to think about the girls and young women with disabilities. So yung mga walang disability, nahihirapan na nga. But what about those with disabilities, actually? Sometimes we have mga posters, for example, na hindi naman nababasa at naiintindihan. Sometimes we have latrines na napakaganda pero hindi naman na-access ng mga wheelchair users, yung mga ganon. So, ang daming mga small struggles na hindi natin usually nakikita sa mga news and reports. And also in our Access project, we've seen how crisis affects girls differently, but we've also seen how girls lead differently. So, during one of our rapid gender analysis, merong isang teenage girl who was studying in Cebu City, Pebbles, at sabi niya, I don't want to go back to school yet because I need to help my mother take care of my family first. And you know what? I am eldest of 6 girls. So this actually stayed with me because it captures something so real, that girls give so much. Even if they're also the ones who lose so much, especially during crisis. So in Mindanao, in Bangsamoro region, the challenges are even deeper. I think maybe some of the girls and young women
Yes,
here
we
are
have
from there.
representatives all the way from Mindanao.
Yes, ayan. So
Show
ayan
of
sila,
hands.
hello. Yeah, so meron din kaming of course mga projects doon, and what we have learned sa Maguindanao del Sur, for example, is that girls are actually dealing with both poverty and conflict and also disasters. Like we talked to one girl, 14-year-old Fatima from Maguindanao del Sur, and she's saying, when I go to school, I need to cross the river. But during the typhoon season or during the rainy season, these rivers actually overflow, right? And then sometimes when there's armed clashes, they cannot also go to school, so they stop going to school for days, for weeks, and sometimes they don't go anymore because of that. So, you know, when we talk about how we need to do our response, we really need to go back to what girls think they need or say they need. Hindi natin pwede na tayo yung we cannot speak for them. And like you said, you know, we need to stand with them. We need to give them space. We need to listen to them. If they need to be there during budgeting, for example, or pagde-design ng mga proyekto, and then also as part of accountability mechanism. Sasabihin ng mga girls na, okay, sinabi nyo na ito yung gagawin nyo, but, you know, hindi nyo ginawa. So they have to be involved in the whole cycle of the project, for example, if we talk about project management. So, but then when you talk about, sorry, do I... meron ba akong 2 minutes pa?
Yes, please
gusto
go ahead.
Gusto ko lang itong i-share kasi we're talking about resilience, no? So when you talk to Fatima, and she has all these mga challenges, but she's also saying that I want to be a teacher someday because I want to make sure that girls like me have chances, no? More than me. And that's actually, for me, that is resilience. You know, resilience is not just about bouncing back, but resilience is actually having that power to choose, having that power to speak up, and having the power to lead. And we see this everywhere, whether it's Occidental Mindoro or in Cebu or in Maguindanao del Sur, Cotabato. You see many of the girls. And lastly, Pebbles, when we went to Cebu, there were some teenage girls who actually gathered in the afternoon under the mango tree, and they said, you know, we cannot go to school, but we need to continue learning. And what they did was they gathered small children and actually tutored the younger kids, you know. So this is resilience, and we don't see this if we don't actually speak with the girls and young women. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Riza, for those powerful examples. And I think it's very helpful and meaningful for our girl and youth leaders to listen and to hear those experiences by your peers, by other girls and young people in these communities that are severely affected by disasters. So we see girls, young people are differently impacted by climate change and disasters and conflict, and you also lead differently. And it's very heartwarming to note na kahit naapektuhan na sila, they still have that space to help others and to think of others. And we actually have here one of our girl leaders who have experienced the impacts of climate change and disasters, and she herself is actually leading initiatives on the ground. And if you're comfortable to answering this question, but we would love to also know how has been your experience in terms of climate and disaster here in the country. How were you affected? If you'd like to share something about that.
First of all po, I want to thank Plant International, Miss Pebble po, to having me here. Isang malaking opportunity po ito sa amin na may represent po yung mga kababaihan, hindi lang po sa community namin, kundi po yung mga kababaihan sa buong Pilipinas. So ayun po, from my experience po na makasama po yung ibang-ibang young people at families po sa Navotas, sa coastal community po na madalas apektado ng pagbaha, nakita ko po na kung gaano ka-willing po yung mga kababae na tumulong kapag may emergency. So, isa po sa napansin ko yung access po namin sa information, sa training na related po sa disaster preparedness, na dapat gender sensitive and youth friendly po siya para sa amin. And ayun nga po, napansin po namin ito ng ilang dumaang bagyo sa community po namin, kung gaano siya kailangan. So, pangalawa po, syempre, yung magkaroon po kami ng pwesto sa local planning sa disaster and sa climate bodies po. Hindi lang po para, ayun nga po, nagkakaroon ng lagi ng panel discussion, ng focus group discussion sa community, pero hindi po nasasama sa suggestion yung mga opinion po ng mga kabayan sa amin. So, sana hindi lang po kami nandoon para pakinggan, kundi i-take po yung mga suggestion namin bilang bahagi bilang parte ng solusyon po. Then next po, syempre, need po namin ng consistent na psychological support and safe space. After po nung assessment sa community, hindi naman po pagtapos ng disaster ay okay na po ang lahat, ganyan. Nakikita po natin yung salitang resilience. Dahil ganun po yung mga Pilipino. Pinapakita po natin na after po ng mga problema, ng sakunang dumaan sa atin, tumatayo na po tayo agad para ipakita na kaya po natin tumayo after po ng problema niyan. So, dapat po nandun pa rin po yung psychological support na kailangan ng mga kababaihan, nakakaranas po ng trauma, ng diskriminasyon sa oras po ng sakuna. And syempre yung safe space po na ibahagi po namin yung mga karanasan na experience namin sa kanya-kanyang komunidad. Ayun nga po, gaya po ng sinabi po nila, bawat kababaihan po may kanya-kanyang pangailangan sa oras po ng sakuna. Lalo po yung mga person with disability po, iba po yung pangailangan nila kapag nandyan yung sakuna. Dahil nga po ayun, parang sa kapansan, dahil nga po sila yung mga person with disability, nakadepende po kung ano po yung special na pangailangan nila kapag may sakuna. Ganon din po yung mga kabataan nating mga estudyante, mga out of school youth, ano nga po ba yung mga pangailangan nila tsaka pagkatapos po ng isang sakuna. Ayun po, thank you.
Thank you very much, Iris. Let's give her a big round of applause. Ito yung biruan namin ni Iris kasi nung umattend kami ng isang event dito sa Quezon City Hall, accidentally natapunan siya ng tubig. So sabi namin, okay ka lang ba? Sabi niya, Miss Pebbles, tilamsik lang to sa Navotas palaging baha. So talagang sabi niya, ibang klase yung strength and resilience, But we don't want to be resilient to a fault. If we see that we can do something and we can demand from the government and other sectors and institutions to really contribute and do their part, then we should do something about it. And I think this is the reason why we are all gathered here today, is to really to empower you, inform you of the basic understanding of climate and disasters and of what you can do to actually play a part in this, in addressing climate change and disasters. So at this point, let's hear hear some questions from our girl and youth leaders. I think the first set of questions will be directed towards Commissioner Rachel from the Climate Change Commission. If we can see a raise of hand from our audience. Yes, we have there. Hindi ko na makita kung anong table. Kindly introduce yourself. Microphone, please. Yan, okay.
Ayan po, isang mga kalikasang araw po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Vincent from Sangguniang Kabataan po. Ayan, magandang araw po. Ang tanong ko po kay Attorney Herrera po, may mga programa po ba ang Climate Change Commission para tulungan ng mga babae na harapin ang epekto ng climate change? Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Vincent. Rachel.
Opo, hi Vincent. So maraming salamat sa tanong. Marami tayong programa on mainstreaming or yung pagpapalaganap ng kaalaman tungkol sa climate change sa mga polisiya ng gobyerno. Pero ang pinaka-challenge po sa amin talaga ay mailagay sa in concrete terms paano itong participation ng youth and of course the youth as the source of the solutions and helping us co-design on, gaya na nabanggit ninyo, Ma'am Riza, ni Iris, kung anong gusto nang gawin ng gobyerno, dapat may say o may ambag doon ang youth. And I would just like to cite one example. Kasi ang pinaka malaking, let's say, project, no, if I can call it that, it's a global effort. Bawat bansa, at kasama doon ng Pilipinas, will commit to reducing our carbon footprint. So dahil umiinit na ang mundo, we want to reduce the emissions in the atmosphere and to keep the climate change or climate impacts from overriding or parang runaway climate change na hindi na natin maibabalik sa dati. So what the Philippines is committing now and what we are writing is a document, ang tawag po dito ay Nationally Determined Contribution, NDC. Basta ito po yung ating target na sa energy sector, bababa tayo ng ganitong emission, sa transport sector, magpo-promote tayo ng mga mass transport, train, electric vehicles, bisikleta para bumaba din yung mga pagbuga ng sasakyan. Sa waste, magse-segregate tayo para hindi mapunta sa mga landfill ang mga basura and so on. So yan po lahat sa maraming sektor binubuo natin into an NDC. And sa NDC natin na ilalabas po natin later, let's say early next year, nag-consult po kami talaga sa youth. So we organized nationwide consultations. Pasig, Davao, Cagayan de Oro, hindi ko na po maalala lahat ng lugar.
Rachel, kasama din po kami sa Plan International Pilipinas
kasama
sa
ang plan
consultation.
Sa consultation. Kasi gusto nga natin na marami talagang ideas, all the minds will be at the table and including our youth, opinions and perspectives. So ang nakita po namin doon sa NDC is that the youth really would like to get more information and education. Uhaw po talaga sila sa data and they're really motivated to contribute and to really lead no, sa kanilang eskwelahan or SK and youth organizations. Sa napuntahan ko lang, Sir Vincent, sa Davao, may SK din na National Youth Commission. So they highlighted transportation as one daily struggle. At siguro lalo na dito sa NCR, kasi hindi na natin kailangan yung detalye. Hirap na hirap po ang lahat ng tao para sumakay, mag-commute from bahay to school at lalo na kung may baha o disaster. So what we're saying is, what if the activities, you know, the accountability mechanisms are there? So madaling mag-report kung may problema ang mga bata sa pagpunta nila sa school. And maybe the routes, yung mga ruta po ng public vehicles, ay dadaan lahat sa eskwelahan. So yun yung napakasimpleng solusyon na nakita namin na nailabas po doon sa NDC consultation, which will directly benefit our youth. So the NDC, including waste, the waste sector, alam ko, ayaw ng mga bata ngayon talaga ng kalat at ng plastic, single-use plastic. My daughter who is in junior high school, ganun din sila. Parang mas malakas po yung determinasyon nila na magtapon sa tamang lugar, mag-recycle. And it's really going to be through the Sangguniang Kabataan, through the school committees sa mga bawat paaralan, kung pwede po nating isulong itong mga youth-oriented practices and programs at tulungan natin siguro itong NDC natin or our GHG reduction or reduction of carbon footprint program bilang isang bansa. Ma-promote po sana natin with the help of the Sangguniang Kabataan. Thank you very much po.
Thank you, Com Rachel, and thank you, Vincent. And tama ka, Com Rachel, this generation is really a generation of ecologically conscious and climate warriors. So napakataas po I think, ng desire to contribute in terms of youth's energy and perspective. Okay, I think we have another question. Naku, tatlo yung kamay. I'd like to request assistance from the floor. Yes, let's take the question from table. I think this is our girl and youth leaders from Mindanao.
Para hindi mahirapan.
Ay, sorry po. So, Assalamualaikum and isang malayang pagbati sa atin lahat. I am Princess Hanan M. Ali from Mindanao po. So, my question po is addresses to Miss Riza Dehito po. Nakikurious lang po kasi ako. So, you've mentioned the activities that Care Philippines has been implementing to support girls in the Bangsamoro region during times of crisis, especially po sa Mindanao. So given these ongoing initiatives, how do you ensure that these programs continue to strengthen the resilience and empowerment of girls, especially in the face of recurring conflicts and emergencies po? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Princess, for that question. Very important question and very timely din, no? Kasi ang daming mga nangyayari ngayon, no? Sa Mindanao, sa Bangsamoro region, and of course all over the Philippines, hindi lang disaster but also conflict. So, ang masasabi ko lang actually is that, I don't want to go back to the challenges. Alam na natin ito. Pero paano ba natin masusustain, no? Ang, let's say, participation ng mga young women and girls, yung mga ganon. So, I would like to give you an acronym, KSP. Kulang sa pansin. So KSP, so that's actually knowledge, safety and security. You can also put security there. And then participation. So bakit knowledge? Because it's not that girls do not want to be involved in disaster preparedness and humanitarian efforts. They want to be involved, but sometimes they don't know how. How to mobilize other girls and other groups, for example. Sometimes they don't know, may mga standards pala. No? If you are actually doing humanitarian response, may mga standards pala. But what if we actually equip these girls with those basic knowledge? They can do so much. They can be excellent messengers. They can be excellent mobilizers. No? So that's K, knowledge. And ano ba yung isa? S is safety and security. That's also very important. Hindi lang sa Mindanao, hindi lang sa BARM, actually. Because if girls don't feel safe anywhere, then they cannot participate. If they cannot even go to toilets because they're scared to go to the toilets kasi walang lights, no, walang locks yung latrines, how can they even, go out and even speak and lead, right? So kailangan din may safe spaces din sila. Itong sinasabi ni Iris kanina, they need to have safe spaces to actually really say what they want to say and what they need to say. Kasi sometimes, binibigyan natin sila ng seat at the table, but they're so scared to say anything because marami ng mga notions, preconceived notions. And then lastly is participation. I don't have to say anything more about this, but girls should be given the chance to make decisions that will benefit themselves. So kailangan niya, especially sa mga partnerships natin, especially with partnerships, we need to make sure, governments man yan, NGOs, donors, communities, that we agree that girls and young women should define actually the projects that we are implementing, how we are also monitoring these projects, and how we are actually budgeting or putting resources in that. So, thank you. I hope I have answered your question, Princess.
Thank you very much, Riza. And thank you for putting emphasis on meaningful participation of girls and young people. Sabi ni Riza, KSP. Ano nga ulit yung K? Knowledge. S? And then P? Participation. Okay, let's have one more question. And this was, I think, from our online audience. And this is for Iris, okay. Iris, you've shared earlier your experiences, and now I think let's take this opportunity, Rachel is here, Riza from CARE Philippines and the Access Consortium, they're all here listening to you. So how can leaders from the government, civil society, the private sector, and other sectors help make sure that girls and youth voices are heard when it comes to climate issues, disasters, and conflict?
So, ayun. Thank you po, Miss Pebbles. Siyempre po, first po, sa government, should institutionalize po yung youth participation. Magkaroon ng youth representative po sa disaster risk planning, sa climate planning bodies po, kung saan, ayun nga po, gaya po ng sinabi nyo kanina, ang mga kabataan po may malawak na pag-iisip, madami po silang idea na maaari pong makatulong sa gobyerno upang masolusyonan po yung issue na kinakaharap. Hindi lang po solusyon yung maaari nilang maibigay. Maaari din po silang magdala ng, ayun nga po, ng gaan, ng pagdala po ng problem na kinakaharap ng mga bawat community. And dito rin po natin makikita na talagang participative po yung mga community. Kung tayo po mismo sa bahagi ng government, ay tinatap po sila. And then po, sa side po ng donors, sa mga CSO po, ayun po, maraming kabataan ang may naiisip na idea, na programa, na maaari po nilang magawa sa community nila. Dito po dapat natin i-invest po sa mga youth-led initiative po na meron yung mga kabataan na naiisip, sa mga mentorship po, ayan, sa mga small grants po, katulad po sa YLA. And syempre po sa mga leadership training kung saan hindi lang po nahasa yung communication skills, yung public speaking skills ng mga kabataan, kundi dito rin po nahasa kung paano nga po ba nila titignan yung mga nararanasan nila sa community, papunta po sa sa government, sa CSO. Paano po nila titignan? Dahil sila po yung mas nakakaranas sa mga bawat area. Dapat po, bigyan po talaga sila ng espasyo. And ayun nga po, gaya po ng sinabi kanina ni Ms. Yung meaningful participation po ng mga kabataan ay hindi lang po siya partisipasyon, kundi ito po ay maaring makabuo ng solusyon na maaari po nating magamit. Hindi lang po, hindi lang po siya pang Pilipinas, pang international po. So, i-take po natin yung opportunity na yung mga kabataan ngayon ay talagang willing na makibahagi, na makisama sa mga programa po na sa usapin ng disaster at climate change. Kasi ayun nga po, sa sitwasyon po natin ngayon, sa matinding init, matinding pagbaha na naranasan po natin, hindi po dapat talaga na kupad tayo kumilos kasi sobrang ang dami na pong naapektuhan. Imagine, ayun po, example ko na lang po sa area namin, na before hindi po siya ganun binaba, hanggang below the nilang po siya. Ngayon umaabot na po siya hanggang dibdib. So talagang po natin na i-take po natin yung opportunity na yung mga kabataang ito ay nandirito at willing pa rin po. Ayun, thank you po.
Thank you very much, Iris. Sabi ni Rachel at ni Riza, approved without thinking. Thank you very much. And to wrap up the panel discussion, because I think kanina pa ako nilalagyan ng wrap up, we would like to ask our panelists if there's one simple or basic idea from this conversation that we had that you hope keeps echoing in our girls and young people's minds as they leave this hall later this afternoon, what would be that key takeaway? Anyone could start?
I can start, yes. So one key takeaway is that if girls' inputs are actually put into action, then we build trust. And trust is actually the foundation of leadership. And if we have that, then we will have more girl leaders in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Riza. A big round of applause, please, to the Country Director of CARE Philippines.
Sige, thank you. Susundan ko po yun na kung may trust ay talagang merong partnership and we want to call on the youth sa inyong kaalaman, sa inyong leadership sa wherever you may be located or whatever sector or organization you represent to be partners of government, partners of the country towards a green economy that we are trying to build. So magbuo tayo ng mga skills, wag po tayong matakot matuto and to gather the knowledge and to always participate. So as partner towards a green and climate resilient economy. Thank you very much po.
Thank you very much, Com Rachel. Another big round of applause for the Climate Change Commission and of course, our girl leader, Iris.
Ayun po, kung sinabi po nila, yung trust and yung partnership po sa akin po yung young people dahil hindi po mabubuang lahat ng yun kung wala yung mga kabataan na handang makipagtulungan sa bahagi ng ng gobyerno, ng mga organisasyon na willing i-take po yung mga suggestion nating mga kabataan into reality. Ayun po. Thank you.
Thank you. Trust, partnership, and of course, with girls and young people. Thank you very much again to our panelists. Thank you to all of you for your active participation and for listening to this session. We now proceed to the awarding of our plaques of appreciation. We would like to invite our panelists to please join us up front. Ayan, may pa-giveaway din tayo. So please allow me to read the citation. This plaque of appreciation is given to our panelists in recognition of their invaluable contribution in the discussion of resilience and crisis protecting and empowering girls held during the Girls Summit event on October 30, 2025 at the Quezon City MICE Center. Signed, yours truly and the Honorable Mayor Josefina Belmonte, Mayor of Quezon City Government. Thank you very much po.
Yes. And there you have it. We now officially successfully concluded our second session. Palakpakan naman po natin ang bawat isa. Ayan, and of course, we would like to commend Ms. Pebbles for navigating smoothly sa ating mga conversations, throwing it back to the participants and then our panel reactors. Thank you so much, Ms. Pebbles. At makikita pa po namin kayo mamaya.
Mamaya, abangan ulit natin si Miss Pebbles.
Tama. Alam mo, Kuya JJ, ang dami nating napag-usapan. And as a person talaga na napakalapit din, isa rin sa mga naapektuhan ng baha, since taga-Navotas din ako, napakahalaga nung naging usapin pagdating sa intersection ng gender at age. Kasi pagdating sa panahon ng sakuna, kapag isa kang batang babae, doble-doble or parang marami kang struggles, challenges na mararanasan. At namagitin kanina kung ano nga ba talaga yung tunay na pangangailangan ng mga kababaihan. At ayun ay yung paglapag sa kanilang community to know what they really want.
Yes, exactly, Rinoa, no? It's very important na na-highlight din yung role ng mga kabataang babae at ng mga, natin mismong lahat ng kabataan in times of crisis na hindi lang mere beneficiaries, but at the same time, main key players during crisis, no? And it's very important to take up space, no? Na magkaroon tayo ng sustainable initiatives para sa ikabubuti at ikakaligtas ng mga kabataan and especially young girls during the disaster.
And of course, to have a last drop-up, gusto ko yung nabigyang diin na strength and resiliency is not enough. What we need is meaningful engagements kung saan we take up the space, we are here, we are heard, engaged, and of course, we are considered. Ang galing na
Yes, kaya
resilience
yung
sa mga
mga
kabataan.
insights natin, yung mga opinions natin, especially to our local government unit, i-maximize natin yan.
Yes.
Kasi yung mga voice natin, who knows, it brings call to action, di ba?
Tama. Ayon nga sa SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities,
Yes.
we need more collaborations between different agencies. Pero para tuloy-tuloy ang pag-angat, of course, bilang kabataan, we need opportunities.
I agree. We need to transition from learning to
Earning.
Kaya naman, ang susunod na session ay about sa pag-asenso. Welcome to session number 3, from learning to livelihood, empowering girls through education and economic opportunity.
Yes, this is a very great discussion. So we have another great person to guide us through this discussion. We have here our moderator, Ms. Twyla Andavid, our program portfolio manager from Plan International Pilipinas. Bigyan naman po natin siya ng masigabong palakpakan.
A round of applause, everyone.
Ayan. Ito na nga. Ito yung problema. Okay. Hi, everyone. Magandang umaga pa rin, no? So, medyo peligrosong oras na to dahil ramdam ko na ang lunch break, no? Pero please bear with us for a few more minutes so that we can discuss an equally important topic that really, sabi nga nila, no, education and employment are our society's greatest equalizers. And I don't think that's very distant from the topics that we are discussing today, primarily related to girls' rights, no, and gender equality. But before we start, definitely, let's talk about the heart, no, of this session and why it matters to all of us as implementers and as practitioners of gender equality and inclusion. Unang-una, we cannot talk about girls' rights and gender equality without recognizing na kalahati lamang sa trabaho ang ipadala ang mga batang babae sa school, no? Kung hindi natin magagarantiya, no, na ang edukasyon ay makakapag-secure ng safe at decenteng kabuhayan, no, para sa mga batang babae, no, at sa kababaihan, a woman stays vulnerable, especially if she lives a life where violence, abuse, and neglect and disaster are present in her life. And of course, hindi naman natin pwede ding pag-usapan ang gender equality and inclusion kung hindi natin ito kayang isabuhay. And for me, in my personal perspective, no, one of the biggest injustices in this world is untapped potential. No? Imagine losing the amount of brilliance, no, of opportunities, ideas in this world because a young woman is held back. No? And it's not because of her lack of talent. It's because of lack of opportunities. And our job today, one of the discussions we want to bring out today, is to make sure that no girl is left behind at the starting line of her professional life. No? So, we have a fantastic lineup today. We have a few minutes left, but I would like to invite to the stage people who are actively bridging the gap between a girl's potential and her reality. So I'd like to bring to the spotlight the following amazing individuals. First, a wonderful colleague of ours who sets the stage for our work and will deliver our core presentation, the Future Makers Project Manager from Plan International Pilipinas, Aris Tizon. Welcome, Aris. Please come up to the stage. Thanks, Aris. Palakpakan naman natin, next, representing the backbone of our education system and ensuring that every child's right to learn is protected. From the Department of Education's Learners' Rights Protection Division, Ms. Maan Escobedo. Ms. Maan, please join us up to the stage as well. And thank you so much for joining us. Then we have two reactors who will bring crucial perspectives from the corporate world, sharing how private sector investment drives this agenda. The Corporate Affairs, Brand, and Marketing Manager at Standard Chartered, Ms. Anne Maria de la Torre. Welcome, Anne. Please come up stage. And finally, the most important voice in the room, a young woman who has a stake in the future we're building, our incredible youth advocate, Chelo Crisel. Chelo, we're honored to welcome you. Please join us here as well. Okay. So by the time you leave today, of course, there are certain points that we have to discuss, no? But of course, konting warm up lang, di ba? Konting tanong lang doon sa, to really get us hyped up with the discussions. So a quick raise of hands, please, for those who have experienced these or if you feel that these statements resonate with you. Number one, parang hindi pa siya ready, pero maunahan ko na, no? Sino rito ang naniniwalang, ako na, mahalaga ang edukasyon? Dapat lang, no? Napakahalaga, no? Hindi dapat ito matatanggal, no, sa ating karapatan bilang tao, no, and someone who's pursuing, no, a positive path in our lives. Pangalawa, sino naman dito ang may kilalang batang babae na gusto mag-aral o magtrabaho pero kulang sa suporta? Meron, no? Isang kamay nga lang parang napakabigat na, no? Isang bata na dahil hindi kayang masuportahan yung kanyang dream, yung kanyang passion is already one hand too many. So let's bring that to the discussions later. That's too many hands. And finally, sino rito ang naniniwala na kapag nakakapag-aral at nagkakaroon ng kabuhayan ng mga babae, gumaganda rin ang buhay ng buong komunidad. So the knock-on effects of education and livelihood affects the entire GDP, entire communities. Okay, I'm glad to see full hands, no? Full show of hands here. So, now that we have some points agreed, and we have set the tone, let's stop talking about a girl's potential and finally talk about possibilities. Aris, the floor is yours first to kick off our roadmap for change. Please take us through your findings on the Future Makers project.
So magandang umaga po ulit sa lahat. Una lang ako, no? I'm happy to share with you some highlights from the baseline and market scan research conducted by the Future Makers project, no? Which was completed last September 2025. Future Makers po is a project, 3-year project with funding support from the Standard Chartered Foundation. This research is part of our ongoing commitment to drive economic empowerment and employability for marginalized young women and young people with disabilities in the Philippines. It helped us understand the real situation of the youth, especially those who are often left behind, and how we can better support them as they move from learning to livelihood in our project areas. Sa Navotas City po ito, sa Northern Samar at saka sa Western Samar. Bakit po namin ginawa yung research? We know that the Philippines has one of the youngest populations in Asia, which means incredible potential. However, many young people still face barriers that prevent them from finding decent work or starting their own businesses. Through this baseline and market scan research, and then po we wanted to find out what's holding them back and what support the youth really need. So we, along with the government, private sector, and civil society partners can create programs that truly open doors for young person. Ayan. Next slide, please. To get a full picture, we talked to young people aged 15 to 31 years old across our 3 project sites. The consultant used a mixed method approach combining youth surveys to gather data and trends, focus group discussions to hear real experiences, and key informant interviews with employers, local officials, and training institutions. This gave us not just statistics, but real stories that show both the struggles and the strengths of the youth. Next slide, please. What did we learn from this research? Yan po yung key findings, no? On employment and skills, only about 1 in 3 youth are employed. Many can't even apply for jobs because of expensive requirements like documents or uniforms. Some also face discrimination, for example, against tattoos, gender identity, or disability. Nandiyan si Twy. Meanwhile, employers are also looking for soft skills and digital skills, but fewer than 30% of youth have received this kind of training. Kulang pa po talaga tayo sa soft skills and digital skills. On access to services and finance, only about 40% of the youth know about employment or entrepreneurship programs, and fewer than 20% have joined these programs. So kulang pa po tayo sa support from our PESO, DOLE, yung mga programs natin on job fairs, yung mga special recruitment activities. And when it comes to finances, just about 20 to 35% have access to savings or credit. And without that, it's hard to start business or even apply for a job. On entrepreneurship, many young people are interested in entrepreneurship. Gustong-gusto talagang magnegosyo ng mga kabataan kasi they want to be their own boss. But capital is the biggest challenge. Most rely on family support and local markets can be saturated. And on gender equality and inclusion, for young women, unpaid care work and early pregnancy often limit opportunities to continue schooling or work. LGBTQIA+ youth and youth with disabilities also face stigma and lack workplace accommodations, barriers that keep them from participating fully in the economy. Next, please. Now, what can we do with all these findings? Ito po yung recommendations. This research doesn't just highlight the challenges, it also gives clear recommendations for how we can all move forward. These aren't just for Plan International Pilipinas or Future Makers Project, but for everyone na nandito ngayon working on youth economic empowerment, the government agencies, private sector, and civil society. First is on programmatic interventions to set up mobile job application clinics to help youth with job requirements and documents, institutionalize soft skill bootcamps to improve communication and confidence, build barangay-based entrepreneurship hubs where youth can get training and mentoring, and expand youth-friendly microfinance with aftercare support to help young entrepreneurs grow. Second, on policy and advocacy, to encourage LGUs to create youth employment and entrepreneurship development plans, or the YEEDPs, promote inclusive employer incentives and stronger anti-discrimination enforcement, and establish multi-stakeholder working groups. Gumagawa tayo ng mga technical working groups to coordinate youth employment efforts. Third, on capacity building and ecosystem strengthening to train sangguniang kabataan councils and strengthen LGU capacity for youth data and planning. Kasi sila po yung may data kung sino yung mga out-of-school youth, sino yung mga needs, sino yung mga young mothers, and improve coordination among different government agency partners, si TESDA, si PESO, si DTI, si DOLE, negosyo centers to support for youth, so that support for youth is seamless. And lastly, on monitoring and evaluation, to track youth transitions from trainings to jobs to business. Kaya meron po tayong Yes Me, nandito si Chan, use participatory monitoring that involves the youth themselves and conduct aftercare follow-ups. Hindi po namin iiwan yung mga kabataan after ng training. Meron pa po tayong patuloy na follow-up sessions, mentoring sessions sa kanila to measure long-term impact. So overall, this baseline and market scan research gives us the evidence and direction to strengthen our goals on youth economic empowerment. It reminds us that the challenges may be real, but so are the opportunities. By working together, nandito po si government, nandito si Ma'am DepEd, the private sector, nandito si Ma'am Ann from Standard Chartered, the communities, nandito yung ating youth leader, so we can ensure that every young person, especially young woman, has a fair chance to learn, lead, decide, and thrive, and that's what we are here for, helping the youth turn learning into livelihood and potential into real impact. Over to you, Toy. Salamat.
Salamat, Aries. That's really comprehensive. actually nag-stick talaga salamat for also noticing that I was making reactions about it kasi talagang minsan sumasakit ang likod ko pag nakakarinig ako ng mga arbitrary reasons for anyone to have deterred options when it comes to hiring, such as appearances, no, the beauty bias of tattoos, for example. If you're perhaps not subscribing to the beauty standard, baka less on chances mong ma-hire, no? Or perhaps on the basis of your being a mother. Maternal bias apparently is one of the biggest forms of biases when it comes to hiring. And sometimes it also gets in the way of education. Di ba? May mga schools pa madalas na hindi na nagre-welcome ng mga batang babae, especially if they become moms, no? So there's a lot of gendered impacts, no, and notions when it comes to accessing education and employment. And it's very important to bring these details on the fore. And your findings too and your recommendations are also so important because it sends a really important message, which is you do not have to overhaul your systems to be inclusive. No, you just need to make sure that there are participatory process in your planning, including young people, including community members, so that our actions are sustainable. But now that we know the data and we clearly know where the gaps are, we turn to the institution that's tasked with building the foundation for every young person's future. Of course, that's the DepEd. No? Maan, based on the challenges that Aris outlined, we want to hear about DepEd's programs that provide quality and flexible learning options. We heard about yung NEET, yung not in education, employment, or training, young women who are NEET. You have about perhaps 8 minutes, if you can, for your main response, and if you can share your thoughts about that as well. Thanks, Maan.
Thank you, Ms. Suaila. Good morning, everyone. I am Maan C. Escobedo from the Department of Education, particularly the Bureau of Learner Support Services, Learner Rights and Protection Division. On behalf, of course, allow me to express our appreciation on behalf of Assistant Secretary Georgina Yang and of course Director Miguel Angel Lamantaring, who as much as they want to be here with you is unable to do so because currently we have Learners Convergence PH. It's a conglomerate of learners, learner leaders din po. As to the response then, the Department of Education has employed the Quality Basic Education Development Plan for 2025 to 2030. This is to address persistent and systematic challenges in Philippine basic education. It aims to operationalize the 5-point reform agenda of this administration, part of which is to ensure that our teachers are high-performing and strengthened career development for teachers and the protection of learners' physical, mental well-being. And also efficient and supportive government structure to ensure decentralization in government. And dito na pumapasok yung sagot sa tanong, high-quality education through bridging the gap in the foundational skills of our learners and also ensuring that our curriculum empowers our learners to be competitive and employable in the future. To ensure that, ma'am, we have developed the flexible learning options, under which this ensures the learning intervention and pathways that are responsive to the needs of our learners. So it has variations in the approach of learning and modalities for our various learners. It addresses out-of-school youth and adults who failed to finish basic education and learners with special needs. Part of the alternative delivery, two of the ways in which we deliver the flexible learning options is through alternative delivery mode and also alternative learning system. Pero yung minention niyo, ma'am, is part of the alternative delivery mode. So this part of the alternative delivery mode, we have included what you have mentioned, NET, and also homeschooling, instructional management by parents and community, and night high school, and open high school program. So that's just part of the programs that we have. And also, of course, we would like to emphasize that we are strengthening our alternative learning system. And Also, since my office is from the Learner Rights and Protection Division, we aim to strengthen DepEd's zero tolerance policy against all forms of abuse, violence, bullying, because based on the PISA result, we are very much aware that violence in schools and bullying and abuses really take a toll on our learners and affect their employability and also their future. So that's just part of what we handle in the office.
Thanks, Ma. And I think I really appreciate these efforts kasi I think gumagalaw na tayo sa isang mundo kung saan hindi na natin pwedeng i-assume na ang experience ng isang bata no, sa kanyang pag-aaral ay pare-pareho. Hindi naman homogeneous no, ang buhay natin. Lalo na pag babae. Kasi di ba simula nung batang babae pa tayo, no? I mean, we were young once, Cello. Parang we already know that our days are kind of expanded in a sense because our household tasks are there. No, we have to take care of our younger siblings. We have to take care of the household, and therefore, I think the flexibility and giving learners the freedom to actually choose the hours, for example, or the modalities that's responsive to their needs is really important. So thank you, Maan, for highlighting that. We are a little bit at time, so I do apologize that we are not able to cover questions at the moment. However, I want to make sure I am mindful that we have other companions here, so I wanted to make sure that holistic din ang ating contributions dito sa session, no? So the government does provide the foundation of education. Now I'm really interested to look at how the private sector is doing in terms of expanding its role in creating the economic opportunities this time, especially for girls and young women. So our next reactor comes from a key partner in this journey, Standard Chartered. So Anne, we'd like your reaction to the baseline data and a focus on Standard Charter's initiatives and programs that specifically cultivates entrepreneurship this time. Opportunities for young people specifically, especially in the context of say for example, the Future Makers Project. Ms. Anne?
Thank you. Good morning everyone, and I'm Anne De La Torre from Standard Chartered Bank. Thank you to Plan International Pilipinas and to the Quezon City government for inviting us here. So siguro, I'll just make a very quick introduction about Standard Chartered Bank. So we are a multinational bank, headquartered in the UK. We are present in 53 markets, but in the Philippines, we actually been in the Philippines for 153 years, since 1872, no? And that long, even our national hero, Jose Rizal, has been a customer. So when he was studying, since we're also talking about education, when he was studying in Spain, he really wrote to the parents to tell them that if they have to send money to him, to go through Standard Chartered Bank because the rates are higher and it's much faster. So that's one thing. No? Pero ang natutuwa lang ako is the uncanny alignment ba of what Dr. Jose Rizal said na youth is the hope of the future with what the bank is also doing to foster prosperity in the community. So yun nga, dyan pumapasok yung aming program, The Future Makers by Standard Chartered, which is funded by Standard Chartered Foundation. So, kanina, nakikinig ako sa mga reactors, and I'm so pleased to see na parang yung mga initiatives na ginagawa ng Standard Chartered Bank is really responding to what is being seen sa market or dun sa on the ground, even dun sa mga research nyo and all. Because like earlier, there was one who mentioned about students who are having to swim para lang makapunta sa school. And we've seen that because we've supported a school in Catbalogan, Samar. It's an island school. Yeah, and it's called the Bangka ng Buhay program. So, actually, I always go there, pero I am touched every time I am reminded of what I've seen there, because the kids, they were swimming 30 minutes para lang makapasok sa school, and then I look at my children na mga hinahatid sa eskwelahan. So I get angry at them, and sometimes they complain. I said, parang wala yatang excuse to complain. If you've seen others who are stretching and doing so much para lang makapag-aral sila. Okay, so sabi ko nga, I think it's really important for each one of us to open our eyes and be aware of what's happening on the ground para maging aware. Kasi sometimes ano tayo nasa bubble, right? So, in response to all the mga identified gaps, no, in 2019, na-create nga yung Future Makers by Standard Chartered. And then, sa Philippines, we've also contributed to the successful outcomes of the program. And the most recent is our partnership with Plan International. It's a global program, Plan International UK, aim to reach 6,000, but in the Philippines, we plan to reach 1,500 in Navotas City and northern and western Samar. But aside from that, we've already partnered with other NGOs para ma-forward din namin yung mga initiatives namin to help young girls and young girls with disabilities. Okay, so since ang Philippines, very strong ang agriculture industry, right? So we also supported this school in Catbalogan Samar, the Catbalogan City Agro-Industrial School. It's a abandoned prison facility which was turned by the government into a agri-tech school. So Standard Chartered Bank supported that. We aim to make it like a center of excellence in agriculture, no? So, yung mga students namin na na-meet namin ng mga nagsuswimming, those who are interested to go into agriculture, parang sila yung kinuha doon and they were housed there para ma-encourage because we believe na one of the gaps that's keeping them from going to school is yung mga pagpunta-punta, no? Because nga, like you said, walang mga allowance, walang pera. So that one, they were being housed there. So we donated some funds there. Nag-start sila ng mga farm, like black farming. So a lot of technical skills given to them and also parang naging enterprise model din siya to prepare these children or these students for entrepreneurship. The same we did with another NGO where we supported senior high school students sa Balete and Dagatan Family Farm in Batangas. Doon naman, we donated a hydroponic farming greenhouse as a skills laboratory. And at the same time, we also donated an enterprise model like a bottled fish processing facility para yung mga bata, they have technical skills. And at the same time, if they eventually want to start their own businesses, alam na nila what it takes kasi may kasama rin siya mga capability, skills building and all. But focus on entrepreneurship, aside from Plan International, we have partnered with two of the largest microfinance institution in the Philippines. So ito yung Alalay sa Kaunlaran and Tulay sa Pag-unlad. So yung isang program namin with Alalay sa Kaunlaran is actually providing microfinance with for young women and micro-entrepreneurs. And then we included a component of renewable energy, no? Kasi sa Cabanatuan and Nueva Ecija, where the beneficiaries are, yun, ang electricity nila so high. More than sa atin sa Philippines, sa Manila. And then, lagi silang na-affect ng bagyo. And then, lagi may brownout. So, meaning yung mga businesses, it's being hampered, no? So, what we did was, we worked with ASCII to provide 0% microfinancing because the usual is about 2.5 to 3% para matulungan sila na ma-maximize yung capital and to expand. But ang design nun, one of the programs, ang design nun is to buy solar panels for their businesses. That means, even if mag-brown out, even if may bagyo, meron silang energy. And at the same time, they also shared that yung electric bills nila also went down. So, having more capital, no? And nakakatuwa because these are young women. Diba? Although yung mga nanay nila, sila yung parang nagsimula. But the young women are, like stepping up and taking the lead sa families nila. Okay, so, actually at this point, I want to play a video of a feature of our program with another microfinance institution, which we did as a response noong COVID-19 pandemic.
Future Makers by Standard Chartered is the global program of the bank which tackles inequality by promoting greater economic inclusion through either microfinancing, supporting the disadvantaged women by helping them to earn, learn, and grow. So we do this through skills training, capacity building, microfinancing, all helping them by increasing their chances of getting employed.
Malaki pong tulong sa akin yung TSPI at yung pong Standard Chartered Bank. Sa dried fish po, dati 3 kilo lang siya. Ngayon, pinakamataas ko po, 4,000 kilos in 1 day po. Sobrang thankful po, sir, kasi kung wala sila, parang na-imagine ko, parang paano ako magsisimula. Nasa pinakamababa ako, through ups, talagang andyan po sila para sa akin.
Sakto, pangarap ko pong maging supplier ng bulto. Pero wala akong kapital. Ate, meron program ang TSPI, parang COVID recovery program in partnership with Standard Chartered. Tapos yung interest niya mababa lang. Sabi ko naman sa asawa ko, pag ito na-approve, para sa akin to, ito yung sagot na hinihingi ko.
Nabanggit po sa akin na meron daw pong programa ang SPI together po ng Standard Chartered Bank. Tapos hindi po masyado mabigat. Para sa amin na nagsisimula ulit, bumabangon, malaking bagay po.
The past 3 years, talagang pinadapa ng pandemya ang mga maliliit na businesses. And so, yung makita lang namin na natulungan namin sila, lumaki ulit ang kanilang mga businesses and really improve on their life and living conditions is very inspiring for us to see.
Okay. So, yung video nga na ito, no? So, siya yung program namin with TSPI. So, we provided microfinance para makapag-start sila ng mga small businesses nila. And you can see naman na kung paano sila nag-improve. So, when we visited our beneficiaries, ang experience namin is it was a very bittersweet experience. Bitter because when we were speaking with them and they were telling us about their difficulties, no? Dahil syempre nag-lockdown nawala ng business. So, they were sharing about desperation, paano nila ibubuhayin yung mga families nila. Painful, no? It was so heartbreaking for us to listen to them. But ang sweet part doon is, nakita namin dun sa mga girls, yung resilience nila and their desire to improve themselves, no? And with the partnership of NGOs and MFIs na katulad ng mga partners namin, they were able to restart, they were able to provide for their families, and they were able to start reshaping their future. So, ang gusto ko lang as a last message, no, is that tayo pala, when we empower a single person, especially a young girl, we do not just change that individual. We start a cycle of progress, no? Hindi lang siya, pati family niya, pati community, and the wider society, right? So, but ang importante dito, it only takes one person and one organization like Standard Chartered Bank. I'm so proud to be part of this bank wherein I can make a difference just by working, right? And para mabigyan natin ng opportunity yung mga batang ito at magkaroon sila ng future at makapag-share ng opportunities to others. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. So, can we also do a quick round of applause, no, for the two presenters so far, reactors, no? I think what your message is also very important because it also shows us how financial institutions can be powerful engines for economic independence, no? So, mag-move away, siguro lalayasan na talaga natin yung charity-based approaches and really make sure that our lens come from making sure na our approaches are also entrenched to rights-based, no? And rights-based approaches that really ensure the economic empowerment, especially of girls and young women, that actually respond to the demands and labor market, no, of the communities tulad mo yung kanina yung ukay-ukay, no, yung poultry, or sari-sari stores, for example, na talagang bibilhan, no? At hindi lang siya sinasabi nilang pity purchases, for example. So that's actually a very important component of our programming. And we feel good kasi we're less alone now, of course, because of the private sector and that you're already here to also expand the work that we are already doing. finally, thank you, Ms. Anne. We turn to the reason why we are all here, no? The youth themselves. So we get to hear from a young woman who has navigated these very systems. And Chelo, your voice provides the ultimate measure of our success. So Chelo, baka pwede mong ma-share sa amin yung inyong perspective, yung challenges, and ultimately your call to action, especially to all of us in this room, lalo na doon sa research tsaka mga reactions din na naibigay kanina. Chelo, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I am Shelo Casal Alma, a youth advocate from Northern Samar. Lope de Vega, where I came from, is a third-class municipality in Northern Samar. Everyone has access to education, but not everyone has the means to maintain or secure it. I have seen many young dreamers. Many of those are girls. Dreamers of a decent, high-paying job and a booming business. But only some made it a possibility. Based on recent data, about 1.1 million learners were enrolled in Eastern Visayas this year. But almost 40% of grade 1 to 10 students are still part of reading intervention programs because of low literacy levels. This shows that even if we are in school, many still struggle with learning gaps that affect our confidence and readiness for higher education or jobs. Also, around 11.8% of girls aged 15 to 19 in our region have already begun childbearing, which often leads to girls leaving school early. On the livelihood side, Region 8 has a 97.2% employment rate, but the labor force participation is only 63.6%, meaning many people, especially young women, are still not part of the workforce. Even those who are employed, about 16% are underemployed or seeking better opportunities. But, as a famous Filipino saying goes, pag ayaw may dahilan, pag gusto, palaging may paraan. To answer your question, through the eyes and heart of a child, the government can help by expanding scholarship and financial assistance programs in poor or remote areas like Lope de Vega, strengthening literacy and life skills program in schools so that girls are more prepared for higher education or vocational training, providing reproductive health education and safe spaces for young mothers to continue learning. Meanwhile, the private sector can offer more internships, mentorships, and on-the-job trainings for young women to gain experience and confidence. Support women-led enterprises through microfinancing, business training, and local product promotion. And partner with schools to introduce digital skills and entrepreneurship workshops for girls. But these institutions are not the limit. In order to go beyond the horizon, we ourselves must act upon our voices. If we work together, young girls like me and to come will not only be catalysts of possibilities, but also empowered to turn our learning into life-sustainable businesses, helping our families and communities rise out of poverty. Thank you very much.
Chelo, those are wonderful and very important points to raise, and I think DepEd is also listening, and also our partners from the private sector, and I hope everyone in this room has also taken note of the recommendations from Chelo. Definitely, I think napaka-importante yung huling sinabi mo, no, na kailangan din isentro natin yung incredible na capacity ng mga kabataan to self-advocate, no, and put their needs and their unique challenges front and center into our programming, especially in their attempts to finish college, no, or finish their education and access employment opportunities to rebuild their lives. Unfortunately, I think we're at time and we've reached the end of this incredibly insightful session. But before we end, siguro very quick round robin lang. Kung kaya niyo yung masagot, no? Kung itong panel discussion na ito, bago tayo mag-lunch, ay isang movie, ano ang title?
Aking nga nakatingin. Sige po, favorite word na sinasabi ko pagkausap namin yung mga youth participants, lalo lang yung mga young mothers na nag-join sa ating mga trainings at sa mga interventions natin is padayon. Resiliency kasi yan, patuloy lang. No? Kahit despite of the challenges na sila ay burden ng mga trabaho sa bahay, kulang yung opportunities. Pero nandito, kaya ka tayo nandito ngayon. Nandito yung government agency partners, nandito yung private sector, nandito yung CSOs no, natutulong sa atin para mabigyan tayo ng opportunities from learning to livelihood at ma-empower tayo sa ating empowerment. So yun lamang po.
Salamat. So that's
Salamat,
padayon.
Tway.
Salamat, Iris.
Siguro on the part of DepEd, tagline na lang siguro. DepEd is learner-centric because after Shelo, DepEd has developed more policies to address yung expanding the financial aspect and also ensuring safe space for our learners. And yung curriculum development din, inaayos din ng DepEd right now towards strengthening a learner-centric approach to all the problems that we face. And of course, right smack center ng lahat ng polisiya ng DepEd, iniisip pa rin namin kung paano namin matutulungan na ma-develop ang mga learners natin to be more employable in the future. So learners are not just rights holders, but more so they are rights advocate also.
Yes, I definitely agree. So being learner-centric and them being at the center of all our decisions.
Movie title, di ba?
Yes, movie title.
So for the Girls Summit, no, and for all the girls here, ang naisip ko is Mulan. Yeah, because Mulan, I hope everyone has watched Mulan, no? It's not just a battle, it's just a story of battle and wars. It's a story of how a woman discovered her value in a world that underestimates her. So yun yung gusto ko na i-share sa lahat, that ipaglaban yung value nyo, and it doesn't mean changing yourself, it means improving you as a woman, using your femininity to achieve success and be the leader sa family, or not really just leader, no, but to support your families and to support yung improvement ng bawat isa.
Thank you, Miss Anne. I also love Mulan. I think it's the perfect antithesis to the Disney princess. But of course, Disney princesses aren't bad either. And Shelo?
I actually want to relate this panel discussion to a movie I saw, which is entitled The Long Walk. It is a dystopian movie in which it is an alternate reality of the 20th century USA, wherein there were teenagers, as myself, the youth, were picked to join a contest voluntarily to achieve a prize by the end of the movie. But the catch is they had to keep walking on a straight road or else they'll die. It's very grim, but I want to relate it kasi sabi nga ni Jose Rizal, ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. And I want to compare the youth to the same youth in the movie, which sama-sama tayong naglalakad papunta doon sa prize, which is youth in a sustainable living community, merong jobs, decent jobs, and yun na nga yung booming business turned reality. And very empowered. Yun yung prize para sa akin. And if we stop walking toward that goal, we might as well die or obliterate or mag-crumble lahat ng ating experiences. Hindi natin makakamit yung same goal natin, which is towards success. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalo. So definitely The Long Walk. Maybe we can check it out. I'm not familiar with the film, but you are right. Education and employment, it is a life and death situation for most people, especially girls and young women. So thank you, all of you, for being part of this important session. Please join me in giving a final round of applause to our incredible panelists and reactors. And also, I would like to invite Noah and Jay back to the stage for the plaques of appreciation. Thank you. Noah?
Thank you so much po, Ate Twai. So, before leaving the stage po muna, we would like to invite the members of the panel for the awarding of the plaques po.
So this plaque of appreciation is given to all of you, in recognition of your invaluable contribution as a panelist in the discussion Safeguarding Girls Online. That's different, but I'll just read the session. It's from learning to livelihood, no? Expanding the economic and education opportunities for girls, held during the Girls Summit event today, October 30th, at the Quezon City Meeting, Incentives, Conferences, and Exhibition Center. It's signed by Ms. Pebbles and Mayor Joy Belmonte. I'll join the photo.
Once again, a round of applause for our panelists and guests for the session 3, From Learning to Livelihood.
Yes. Napakaganda ng naging discussion natin pagdating dito. Kasi ang pinaka-favorite kong na-mention, I think it was Ate Twyla who mentioned it, na iba-iba ang experiences ng kababaihan. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution when we talk about economy, when we talk about financial skills, when we talk about giving the opportunity and the capacity for the children and the girls to bounce back after a disaster talaga.
Yes. Makikita mo dun yung sustainability na hindi lang natatapos sa awareness, but rather it transcends or nag-go beyond through economic empowerment, especially to our young girls, as per the discussion earlier.
It's like the bastion of generational
Yes.
Mali. It's like the bastion of giving them the opportunity to grow beyond their limits and to be self-reliant and resourceful themselves. So ayun, that's our 3 sessions for the morning sessions. Palakpakan naman natin.
Palakpakan naman natin ang very insightful na sessions natin for today. That wraps up yung sessions natin. And balita ko, Rinoa.
Oh my gosh.
There's someone na gustong bumate sa ating mga kabataan.
At balita ko, kuya, isa raw siyang kapuso.
Kapuso!
At balita ko, isa siyang entertainment host with the keyword family.
Yes. And at the same time, parang kilala niyo na. Kilala niyo na ba? Okay, so another clue.
Oh my goodness.
Love team to. Part siya ng love team. Iconic.
Ay, at another clue. Kinasal sila.
Kinasal sila. Okay, so wala pa. Okay, ready na ba kayo?
Ready na ba kayo? Ready na.
Okay. Please welcome.
Roll VTR.
Binabati ko ang lahat ng girl and youth leaders na kasali sa Girls Summit ng Plan International Pilipinas. Bilang po isang asawa at ama, alam kong mahalaga ang role na ginagampanan hindi lamang ng mga babae, kung hindi maging naming mga lalaki at iba pang gender at ng mga kabataan syempre sa pagtataguyod ng girl and women's rights at gender equality and inclusion. That's why I encourage all of you to actively participate in initiatives that protect and empower you. Be in rooms where your voices are heard. Seize the opportunities to collaborate, to support, and to lift each other up. Stand with girls, stand with the youth, stand for the future. Muli, ako po si Dong Dantes, and I'm proud to support girls and youth empowerment.
Alright, thank you so much, Mr. Ding Dong Dantes. Palakpakan naman natin siya. Ayan, alright. Sana nakasama natin siya for today. But, for some reason, wala siya. Pero, masaya pa rin naman tayo. Masaya ba kayo?
Yes.
Parang mataas yung please. Mga ganun, no?
Yes. Yes na. Sige na. Pero I can see, I think the lunch is being served na. Pero while that is happening, magkakaroon din tayo ng press briefing. Pero in another room, Pero yung mga participants natin here ay dito lang kayo, kakain kayo ng lunch. So in the press briefing, we will have some of our leaders from the youth movement, national government, and of course, our non-government organization habang nangyayari ang lunch dito.
Yes, so the press briefing will be led by Ms. Pauline Gutierrez from Plan International Pilipinas. So to those involved in the press briefing, please proceed to room 3, second floor. I repeat, room 3, second floor of this building. But while that happens, our participants are free to explore the booths para matapos ang inyong mga mission passport. So as you can see, sa mga kits ninyo, meron tayong mga mission passport. So ito din yung time nyo after nyo kumain, after you take your lunch, to explore the booths outside of our events hall. And the first 5 na makakapagkumpleto is may matatanggap na prizes.
Ayan. Balita ko, meron na raw mga nauuna.
Oo nga eh.
Pero of course, meron na dito.
Ayun na.
Ay,
Woo!
perfect.
Parang 5 sila.
Parang 5 na nga sila. Ayan. Tapos meron din tayong photo booth. Feel free na i-utilize nyo sila. Keep the memories, keep the experiences through the photo. At sila ay open hanggang 5 o'clock p.m.
Yes, and please take note that our booth, exhibit, will last until 5 p.m. today. So, maximize your time, guys. Okay, kita-kits tayo sa mga booths and enjoy your lunch. See you later!
Yeah.